Has Jesse Eisenberg ever played a character that's apologised for anything?
Class act magicians that are doing magic at times that is just literally impossible.
But wait, there's more. Alakazam, Abracadabra.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Sorry I Don't podcast. I'm Abby, this is Swanny and Claude, and every week we review films that are both ridiculous and amazing, and basically just films that you want to watch with your pals. This week it is Now You See Me.
Aye, Now You See Me. And we'll get to that name.
I wish I didn't.
I kind of wish I didn't, to be honest.
Okay, so I'll be doing the little plot roundup today, and we'll get started on that in a minute. First of all, question for the room. How do we feel about magicians? That's a very muted response. I expected a harsher response, but I feel like you've been warmed to them by this film somehow.
No, I've not been warmed to magicians. I don't have any thoughts on magicians. I just think it's a craft that should have been left in the fucking 1700s. That's my opinion on magicians.
Despite the fact that it became popular really heavily in the 1800s, I agree with you.
Oh, well, that's probably what I meant.
I suck. So,
Stop moving your mic.
Right.
Anyway, I'm kind of similar to you. I don't think about magicians often. They don't play a big role in my life, and I don't think I'd ever pay money to go and see one.
I once tried to be a magician. I didn't. Well, that's what a member of the Magic Circle would say. No, they wouldn't. They would talk about it a lot, and they have.
It's the sixth horseman.
I'm the seventh horseman. Sixth and seventh horseman is me. That's a reference to the film, not the apocalypse that's impending, folks. So, Now You See Me. So, about magicians, my history with magicians is very long and complex and detailed, and I won't go into it now. I'm taking the piss. Magicians are fine. They're okay. I actually got a phone call from one this morning.
No!
Yeah, because last night when we were like reviewing this,
After a few drinks,
I got really I got really into the idea of having a clown for my 30th.
Oh my god! That's why I kept pausing the film to ask me if I thought it was okay for him to have a clown at his 30th.
Like, not for the whole night, not for the main event, more like he shows up for a couple hours.
Man, do you know, I've never seen like a live real clown before.
It's weird, man. I
fucking love a clown.
I'm trying to find it. So I found there was a website. I was like, put your details in, we'll find
Not
clown.
a magician?
Well, let me get to it. So I wanted a clown, and then I put all my details into this really complex list, and I was like, yep, cool, here's it all, and just really making it sound great, and then it gave me one guy. I was like, there's one guy.
What, is there like
one guy
a
that's
clown
allowed to
filter? Like a website that's like fits the best clown to you?
Rent a clown, basically.
Rent a clown in your area, and there's apparently fuck all, because the guy's name was Ian. And he wasn't a clown, he was a magician. And I feel bad because he actually phoned me this morning and left me a nice voicemail saying, I'd be really keen to do this birthday for you, Callum.
Oh.
And I was like, oh no.
I think we've got to do it now.
No, I'm not to get a magician for
Oh no,
he's not a clown.
Can we get both?
I'm gonna ask
It's your
Like,
30th man,
through the
go
line,
all
I
out.
do remember the one thing that we were like, oh no, that would be a step in the wrong direction, was he was like, I really want a clown, but I can't have an animal guy. The guy that shows up with like
snakes and that.
like snakes and I think there's a turtle. And I was making a joke about, the ones that gets like the wee falcon to land in your hand, and I was like, that would be it. You'd be like, coming outside for a minute. Just to humour Swanny, have a wee shot with a falcon just so he feels like he's got his money for it.
I'd be like, it was like every second falcon play. Every second play with the falcon, every second shot.
Did he be playing with a falcon, man?
No, every second shot with the falcon would be me. So it's like, and I'd be like giving it out based on, I really like you, so you'll get 3 shots with the falcon at my 30th. And I was just like, man, I can't even do that for my 30th. I can't have a big...
What a clown.
A clown would be funny though, because you imagine like we're just doing everything else and
what
I was like,
point in the
Pogo, in the corner. Yeah, right, how long you need? 2 hours? Set the timer. He's not staying any longer than 2 hours. Right, do something funny. And then we get back to like some fucking tunes and I just occasionally be like, ha ha ha, drunk.
You at any other party.
And I'd look over and see the clown and be like, Cloud, what you doing now? And he'd be like, whoa, and I'd be, and it'd be real. It'd be real.
Swanny's having a bit of a midlife crisis.
No. But I wanted a clown and I got Ian the Magician. So if you hear this, Ian the Magician, I really appreciate you reaching out. If you've got clown pals, then we can talk. But other than that, I don't
Why
know.
do I feel anxious that Ian the Magician's going to see this?
Yeah, I feel really bad for him. We should tag him. No, Ian.
We should not tag him.
Not.
I feel bad. I feel
Anyway,
really guilty this one.
that's what the film Now You See Me, which we're choosing to review today, that's what that drove us to last night.
Yeah, and the reason we picked this film is we were like, I was like, I saw it years ago, the end of it years ago, and then you're like, yeah, it could be quite fun to make fun of magicians if they're really, who's playing them? And I was like, oh, Jesse Eisenberg, and we were all just like, sold. He's a dick. Great. So, Now You See Me came out in
2011.
Why are you doing this for me? But you're
Just remember
right.
it faster than you.
You're absolutely correct. Oh, no, no connection. Oh, no. Sorry, guys, I had it there, and it's went and shafted itself. That's not a phrase. It's not a good phrase to use. No, it's not. Not 2011. 2013.
Oh, how dare she?
Stupid. Wee. Fanny. Right. No.
That's what you'll be shouting at fucking Ian the Magician at your 30th birthday party.
If I get in a fight with Ian the Magician at my 30th, then I'm not making it to my 40th. Telling you that much.
You woke up to phone calls from magicians today.
That's what Now You See Me did to me. That's the effect Now You See Me had.
Tell you, but if you thought that any of the stuff in this film is something a magician can achieve, you're going to be sorely disappointed.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. Oh, man, imagine. Right, so we'll get into the fact that these guys aren't really magicians in a moment's time. So, yeah, it came in 2013. It is a heist movie, which you didn't realise, and which... Well,
I did realise. I made a joke about you not realising, because you said... This is a film about bank robbers, but they're not surfing bank robbers this time like Point Break. They're magicians. And I went, wait, is this film about magicians?
Yes, that was it. Yeah. Well, okay. Moving swiftly on from me forgetting that fact, thinking I had a wee one up on Abby there, and I don't, never do. So yeah, released in May 2013. Starring, what's his name? Jesse Eisenberg, Mark Ruffalo, Isla Fisher, Melanie Laurent, and then inexplicably Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine. But we also have Woody Harrelson in there, Common, and Dave Franco.
Yeah.
So it's
Common.
yeah. Let's look him up. Who was Common? Yeah, so Common is he's an American rapper. I'm pretty sure he was Mark Ruffalo's.
Oh, we pal.
The guy that gets like triggered by the word bullshit,
Right.
and keeps.
I thought you meant like the other detective. I was like, that guy's a rapper in real
I
life.
thought you were just calling Woody Harrelson Common.
Oh no, no, that'd be shocking, and that's not what we're doing. So directed by Louis Leterrier. I don't know how you pronounce that. Louis Leterrier, he's French, so there we go. But yes, so initial thoughts?
On Now You See Me, not magicians in general. I just kind of was like,
What's happening?
what is going on? I was like, when did this film start? It started ages ago, but I feel like I didn't go, okay, it's starting now. I was trying to explain that to Abby there.
Yeah, the whole film feels like, and then what?
Yeah, it feels like I've just jumped in the middle of a film, kind of. Like, obviously they have the little bit at the beginning where they establish all the characters and stuff like that, but and then they immediately jump into bank heist. I just don't really get it. Like, what's in it for them? I don't know. I weirdly enjoyed it though. I didn't think I would because I'm,
Given the circumstances, traveling up from London, sitting complaining on the group chat, I've not got time to watch this, and I'm like, I'm sorry I didn't pick it quick enough, I'm shite.
Not even that, just like Jesse Eisenberg and Magicians just didn't say anything.
Does not sell well, does it? But yeah, apparently it does.
But hey, I think that's just what I needed. I needed something that was just so fucking mind-numbing to just like chill me out after my pretty stressful
I
week.
love that this chilled you out.
Okay.
It infuriated me a
Oh
little
my
bit.
god, we were like sitting like the first 10 minutes. We actually, like, I think genuinely were having a bit of a meltdown watching this film because we were so worried of what it was going to do to you. Like, the only way I could have actually, like, on paper made this worse is if Mr. Bean was in it. Can you imagine if Mr. Bean
That would
was
have
in
been
this film?
that would have been so much better. See if Rowan Atkinson showed up as like the head. I'm leading the I'd love that shit.
No one wants that, except for you, apparently.
Apart from me
But,
and,
like,
and Mr. Bean fans.
we were the first 10 minutes of this film, so when he goes, are you feeling overwhelmed? Because this is really overwhelming me. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, what's Claude going to think? She's going to be going mental. And we're both sitting there going, Claude's going to hate this. Claude's going to be raging at us.
And I'm just like, it's fine, we'll make that part of the podcast. She can hate it, she can be the one that hates it. No. And now it turns out, no. Anyway, so your thoughts? Yeah, well, yeah. Pish, right. So we start off with some lame music, a bit, and then you hear Jesse Eisenberg whisper, coming close. And I was just like, nah, man. I'm good. I'm absolutely good. But we get quite a competent, to be honest, introduction to these characters. So we get Jesse Eisenberg's character. I forgot his name. What's his name?
I don't
know any of their names.
Danny?
You know that?
Alex?
Danny Atlas. Fuck
Danny
me.
Atlas.
Right, so we meet Danny Atlas, played by Jesse Eisenberg, and he's immediately doing a very lame card trick. And he's saying stuff like, the closer you look, the less you see. I know it doesn't sound like that, but that's how he feels to me.
Yeah.
And he's just doing a card trick to some people, and they're like, oh my god, amazing. And then, any thoughts on Jesse Eisenberg? Immediately, I thought unlikable.
I mean, he is just unlikable as a person.
Plays the same character in everything.
I just feel like he plays himself because whenever you see him like
What's I was saying last
doing
night?
anything ever, he just sounds like a dick. He's just not doing anything. What is he doing? You know,
He's made millions.
Yeah,
Millions.
He made quite a lot.
who has cherry picked him and been like, I'm going to put him in my films? He's not nice to look at. He's not nice to listen to. He's
No nice to be around.
Aye.
Apparently, mind that? Did you see that interview when he makes the interview?
Carrie just showed it to me before.
Oh, yeah, it's
shocking.
Yeah.
Aye, it's horrible.
You seen this?
No.
Well, you'll see it. What are you gonna say?
The card trick that he does.
Oh yeah.
It, like, she's like, pick a card, and then she picks a card, and he's like, is this your card? And gestures to like a tower block, which then lights up to represent like the symbol on the card. I think it was like 5 of diamonds or something stupid like that. And she's like, he takes her home basically, and they're kind of like hooking up, and she's like, tell me how you did the card trick. And he's like, oh, I slipped $50 to the building electrician. And I'm like, because every building superintendent has a control room where they can press buttons to light the tower block up. Like, people will be cut about making their dinner and be like, why have I lost all the power to my flat right now?
For 50 quid.
For
Well, that's what I was going to say. $50. Like, how bad is the fucking market for electricians in this country, in this part of the world? Like, oh, 50 quid. Yeah, man, that's really good. That's going to keep the lights on.
But like, he's also meant to be like a famous TV magician. Like, you'd think he would have like haggled him for a bit more than 50 quid.
Nah,
But,
man.
like, this is just not a thing. Straight away, I'm like, how is that a magic trick?
They also do completely impossible stuff throughout it. So why couldn't he have just magically put the lights on in the building? Like they magically got a sheet to kind of like fly around the room at some point.
So my understanding of that is they're pretending to be magicians and they're actually wizards. So they got to maintain that illusion a little bit. We'll get into that. Like, cringe away because it's going to get horrible. But yeah, no. Yeah, right. We're just at the start. But no, Jesse Eisenberg is very lame, and yeah, $50 will apparently buy you the electricity to an entire building.
Also, who the fuck is wanting to sleep with Jesse Eisenberg over a card trick?
Yeah, right.
It's just inexplicable. Like, already,
But he's a
I'm like,
dickhead the whole time to her.
Oh, he's horrible to everybody.
Yeah.
Keeps
Yeah.
calling Isla Fisher fat.
Yeah, right. Isla Fisher.
this film came out like literally like 9 years ago. I'm like, how is it alright to say things like this?
I know.
Like,
Almost
literally
10 years
less than
ago.
10 years. That's what 9 years ago is, man.
You try and you fucking try.
Hi with yourself.
Let me calm calming myself down again. This happens every time. So, meanwhile, we also meet Woody Harrelson's character, and his name is... Can we remember?
Again, I don't care.
Yeah.
Merritt McKinney, a.k.a. The Hermit, because of the card that you get. We'll ignore that.
They all get their kind of
tarot cards.
tarot cards.
These
in the
magical
post.
tarot cards that can fuse together. and open.
Yeah.
Oh, God. They
We'll-
fuse together. We'll get there, I'm sure, unless I didn't write it. 'cause
These
I-
magicians that can harness the power of CGI.
Yes, that's a very good way of looking at it. As I said, they're wizards. So Woody Harrelson, we meet him. He is a shy hypnotist. Well, actually, he's actually an inexplicably talented hypnotist, but he's a terrible businessman because he's immediately like, yeah, I'm hypnotizing your wife and I'm getting you to reveal that you had an affair with her sister.
Which he does so quickly. He's like, I can read your mind. Oh, you're thinking about Florida. And he goes, it was just a business trip. I didn't just cheat my wife. And she's standing there like, what?
Didn't think you did, man.
Like, literally, he's just like, says the word Florida. This guy immediately shits the bed and gives the game away. It's like, man, what are you doing?
Yeah, I know. And
Calm
then,
down.
but then the guy, yeah, he gets raging at Woody Harrelson for doing this, and it's also like, man, you definitely led him there. And then she goes mental at him, but then she's actually hypnotised, it's all fine. But he's raging, they storm off, and I'm like, you're really good, but this is really bad for your reputation. Like, how are you getting gigs after this? Like, who's watching that went, you know what, that'd be really funny? See all my deep, dark secrets that I have kept from my wife to maintain our relationship? I'm going to go and do this. Because that's clearly what's happening. They've clearly seen him before, saw what he does, seen what he does, and went, you know what, fuck it. Fuck my life up, man. That'd be great.
But it's not even hypnosis, because I think he gets described as a mentalist. I have no idea what a mentalist is meant to be. But, like, from that clip alone, he's like,
A mentalist is someone who can kind of like read your body language and like draw information out of you. You know, it's like quite good at just deciphering people, essentially.
This guy can completely read minds. Like, Robert Pattinson, Edward Cullen read minds. Like,
Better than him.
and then
Yeah, which is very funny.
has like mind control and hypnosis. Like, there's so much like what? I don't understand. This guy is like just a superhuman.
He's a wizard. So continuing on, we meet Dave Franco as well.
Wait.
You got one more thing about Woody?
Well, yeah, it's when we leave Woody is when we first see the hooded figure.
Is it actually?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, the hooded figure, the big twist, the plot twist I knew going into this, which, do you know, I've got so many notes here, you can hear them or see them, right? These are notes of me trying to figure out what was actually going on, what they were trying to do, still knowing in the back of my head that none of this matters or makes sense because I know what the twist is. So this was like... Honestly, I feel like I was going mad because, like, why am I going into so much detail trying to explain what this is when I know what the actual thing is and it isn't what it... Anyway, we'll get to that. So, Dave Franco. We meet Dave Franco, and he is hustling on a boat in New York City. And he bends a spoon. Ooh... And everyone loses their mind. And it's like, right, cool, man. And the extras in this film... I don't know if you noticed, the extras are given the fucking most. Like, they see him do the generic bend a spoon trick and they're like, wow! Pointing at him and shit, and I'm like, man, can we dial it down 10? Like, that's too much.
Also, he's in New York.
That's what we're going to be like at your birthday party.
When fucking Al Kelmo, the fucking clown, shows up. Oh, I want a clown called Al Kelmo at my birthday. Find me a clown called Al Kelmo.
This is going to end up with me getting forced to dress up like a clown for Swanny's birthday.
Al
Isn't it?
Kelmo the clown. There you are.
So, he bends a spoon.
Bends a spoon, gets a bit of a round of applause, and these two jackasses in the audience are like, hey man, that's actually bullshit. And then they show that it's a fake spoon trick, and they just rip the piss out of him, and so he robs them.
Yeah.
And then
And that's
flees.
That's his
And
bit.
That's his bit.
Sleight of hand, I guess.
Yeah, he's sleight of hand, but I kept waiting for it to be a bit more, because then he obviously bumps into that hooded figure on the way down.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is a plan. Oh, no, he's just robbed the man. Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
I just put like Dave Franco is a much less charismatic, artful dodger from Oliver. Like, that's his whole bit.
That's
And,
his
like,
whole thing.
Basically, like another thing that really frustrates me about this film is that, like, when you were texting me and you're like, "Oh, Woody Harrelson sucks," I was like, "Yep." And like, spoilers for the rest of the film. That's it. Like,
Yeah,
none of the characters have any character
Yeah, there's no
development
development,
whatsoever.
really.
There's a moment in a lift where two of them say, if we go to jail, this was a fun experience. And then Woody Harrelson goes, yeah, this is a bit much for me. That is literally the closest thing we get to any kind of character development for any of the characters in this film.
Yep.
They just, like, the way that they're introduced to us, they just remain that way through the entire film.
Yep.
And, like, I don't really...
I love films like that. I love films where nothing happens. Continuing on with that trend, we then meet Isla Fisher, and she's doing escaping from a tank, but there's going to be piranhas getting involved, getting dumped in if she doesn't do it in time. Once again, the extras are being very fucking extra. Like, they're like, wow, man, wow, like actually losing their minds, drinking beer, like fist pumping and everything like that. I was like, man, this is a fucking magic show with a tank. Like, can we calm it down?
Also, I don't want to be this guy, but like, again, we've got our only female character that we'd introduced so far, and she immediately strips off into something skimpy.
Yep.
Like, and that is just the theme of this, innit? Like, just
it's not a film for the
cannot
girls.
pass the Bechdel test.
The Bechdel test.
Don't.
Do you mean the Bechdel? No, sorry, that was awful. I hate myself for doing that.
I literally tried to stop you.
You're right. Sorry, I don't.
I tried to stop
Sorry, I don't.
Oh, lost some points there, mate. Keep that in the edit.
I'm going to mansplain the Bechdel test to Claude. Fuck me. You can hear them. The fucking harpies are so happy about this. Rip me apart.
God, it's hard.
Oh my god, fuck's sake.
Turn it off, man. Turn it off. Cut the fucking mics.
Right, anyway, so Isla Fisher is introduced. And it doesn't pass the Bechdel test. What are you looking at?
It's like TV written like she's really hot or something, because that'd be very funny.
I do think she's very hot, but I didn't write it down there. I write it about Melanie Laurent. That's where I really go off on one. Wait. This doesn't come across. This doesn't represent me. No.
It is you.
It is.
The bear is right in front of you,
The bear is
man.
in front of me and he's stinking. So, so she does this escape bit, and then she does a whole fake, oh my god, I can't get out, and again, the extras go mental. One of them grabs an axe from somewhere, and he starts, no, it's not an axe, it's a big pole, it's even worse, it's like a big metal pole, and he starts hitting it, but he's hitting it in like the weirdest ways, like doing an upward swing as he hits it. Like, I really noticed, I was like, why are you doing an upward swing?
He also does one attempt. Like, he thinks that she's actually drowning, and he hits it once, and he's like, oh, well, that didn't work.
See, I thought he did it twice, but they actually just repeat the shot twice. So yeah, you're right, it is once. And then she goes mental, then the piranhas fall in, just she gets up to the top, oh my god, and then the water goes red with blood. Oh my god, not how piranhas eat, by the way, they're not like that dangerous in that sense, but okay. Oh, she's dead. Oh my god, everyone's freaking out, everyone's traumatized for life. And then she's like, she appears in the crowd somehow,
Soaking
wet, and she's like, whoever invented this is a sick freak, and gets a round of applause. And I was just like, right, okay. Okay, we know.
That whole bit felt a wee bit off colour to me. I felt like I was watching something out of Final Destination.
Yeah, right.
It was fucking bizarre. Like, very, very strange.
Totally. So her name is Henley. Her name is Henley Reeves. And this is when all four of these characters that we've seen so far receive a tarot card. As we mentioned, a magical tarot card. Ooh. So Jesse Eisenberg gets the lover, inviting him to a secret location. Woody Harrelson gets the hermit, inviting him to the same secret location. Isla Fisher gets Henley Reeves, Isla Fisher gets the high priestess, invited to the same location, and Dave Franco gets death, the death card, invited to the same location. So they all go, oh my god, I'm going to go to this. Like, Jesse Eisenberg is literally with this really inexplicably attractive woman that's into him, and as soon as he sees the lover card, he's like, throws her off of him, and is like, yeah, you need to go. And she's
also,
like,
there's that whole bit where he's like, oh, I'll call you, and she's like, you don't even have my number, and he's like, I'm magic, I'll get it somehow. It's like, oh, shut up, man.
Everything he says is that.
Stop it.
But
Enough.
yeah, so Danny, Jesse Eisenberg, and Henley, Isla Fisher meet outside this building, and we get a little bit of relationship backstory. They used to work together, and they used to work together. She was his assistant. Now she does her own thing. He keeps referring to her, oh, well, my assistant, all this shit. And then he also reveals that he's been anonymously posting on her website like a wee fucking freak, like pure incel energy.
behaviour. Also, this doesn't go anywhere. Like
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
relationship doesn't like develop, resolve, get better, change.
Oh no, they hold hands at one point.
Is that them?
Maybe.
I wasn't sure. Okay.
I'm assuming
There's
so.
a shot of two hands coming together.
Well, it wouldn't be Woody Harrelson and fucking Jesse Eisenberg.
Or Dave Franco.
Or Dave Franco. No one likes Dave Franco in this, unfortunately.
It's just like bizarre. Like just from the get go, like you say, there's just no character development. So he's just been like a complete sexist pig to her
Yeah.
and never recovers
Never
from
grows.
it.
Yeah.
Never apologizes.
Never apologizes, never says like I shouldn't have been a dick. And also like everybody else's kind of like startup story is just like, yeah, I decided to become a magician, and hers was like, oh yeah, I was like the pin-up girl, I was his assistant for a bit, and now I've like come into my own. It's like, why have we got to have this backstory where she was like Jesse Eisenberg's
Yeah, why can't
bitch
they
before
just-
she became a magician?
Yeah, it
like
sucks.
And then basically,
it fucking sucks, man.
the thing that he says to her that then becomes like a recurring, I guess you would say a recurring joke if it was in any way funny. He's like, oh yeah, she was my magician's assistant, but then she got too fat for the costumes.
Oh yeah.
And she's, like,
Hilarious, man.
So slim,
2013.
like slim.
Yeah.
2013.
Well, look, I
I could see this kind of behaviour in like a 60s Bond film, and I'd be
Yeah.
like, well, it's a 60s Bond film. No, 10 years ago.
Look,
No, but Bond was trying to like kind of flirt with the women. This guy's just like fully negging her.
Yeah, well, he's-
like he's
yeah,
just like,
Jesse
but not
Eisenberg-
even really. He's just like putting her down. He's trying to like completely. He says that he complained that she was too heavy for one of the tricks, and then she was like, it was really difficult trying to fit in those costumes every week, and he's like, oh well, Danielle could do it. Danielle did it every week, and it's like this. But then also, it's just like he doesn't learn the error of his ways. He doesn't ever apologize to her. It just goes nowhere.
As well, he's like, oh yeah, because obviously the anonymously posting on our website thing, he's like, yeah, it's good that you have a wee website, you know, like that'll probably help you out along the way, I guess. Just constantly putting her down, and it totally sets up
He
for him
sucks.
being like, do you know what, I suck, I'm so sorry that I
Yeah,
spoke to you
right.
like shit.
nah.
No.
But has Jesse Eisenberg ever played a character that's apologized for anything?
Imagine that being
Zombieland?
your bit, your vibe, you know?
Irredeemable asshole.
Yeah. No, look, I'm going to give the writers a little bit of credit here and just go like they met Jesse Eisenberg and they went, oh, he's a prick. We can't actually do that redemption plot line anymore, so we're just going to make him an asshole completely. That's my kind of headcanon for it. They were like, oh, you were meant to get a really nice scene where you actually grow and learn, but you wouldn't, so
Nah.
you're not going to, man.
Every time we might actually use the four main characters to have some kind of plot conversation, we'll just have Morgan Freeman provide some exposition to a random backstory that no one gives a fuck about.
Yeah. As we say, Danny, played by Jesse Eisenberg, Isla Fisher, Henley, they meet, it's pish. And then they go into the building and we bump into Woody Harrelson and Dave Franco, who are also at this building. And then we get a little bit of back and forth. Clearly, Woody Harrelson being a big famous magician, Jesse Eisenberg being a big famous magician. Yeah, I mean, buckle in. We're not even we're not even got to the opening credits yet. They clearly have a little bit of a rivalry, and they kind of bullshit some terrible insults and make some jokes, and it's shit.
I think the key thing here is that they're all magicians in their own right. They're just good at different stuff, and that's why they've been brought together.
Yeah. And then Woody Harrelson starts going, he says the lamest thing I've heard in a while. He goes, I'm just trying to create the space for wisdom. And I was like, right, and this is not the film for it. So, they then bullshit outside, and they go into the flat or the apartment, and we get this weird symbol on the floor, which then turns into gas, and then a projection. And this is the first example of science and physics just being made up in this film.
Do you know what I thought about this scene? My immediate thought was just like, they are class act magicians that are doing magic at times that is just literally impossible. Why are they impressed by a projection? Why are they all like, oh my God, what's happening? It's blueprints. This is the best thing I've ever seen. You're like, man,
The dialogue
you're a
in
magician. What are you doing?
She's like, blueprints. They're incredible.
It's a
like,
show.
has she never seen a blueprint before? I'm so confused.
At this point, they surely don't know what the blueprints are for either, because if you just look at a picture of a blueprint for 5 seconds, you're not like, I know what this
It's a
is.
show.
To be fair to them, as I said, I wrote here that this doesn't make scientific sense. So I would also be mind blown by this, but my mind blow wouldn't be, oh my God, it's a show. I'd be like, what's happening? What's happening? Do you know what I mean? freaking out.
How is a projection not scientifically possible?
Because
it comes from gas.
Because it comes from gas on the floor, and then it envelops them, and there's no projector, and there's no...
Is there not lights on the wall?
Water
I thought there was
trickles
lights on
into
the wall.
this wee
Probably.
groove in the ground, and it travels down, and then it fucking starts making this gas, and then the gas becomes a projection. But it's not just like a projection on a wall; it's like a 3D projection that rises from the ground that they can
did that with
interact
ABBA,
with.
did they not? Or someone?
They did that with ABBA.
Yeah.
They made ABBA out of a trickle of water that ran into the
No,
ground.
not the water part, but there's like lights on the wall, I'm sure, like from the corners that make this 3D projection. Who did they do it with? It wasn't ABBA. Well, maybe. Was it ABBA?
they did do something like
They
that
have
with
done
ABBA.
an ABBA hologram show.
Yeah.
It's a hologram. Why are they impressed by holograms? They're magicians.
But
That's my point.
I think
But
the
it's
point-
how the hologram came to be.
Yeah, I think the
There's
point we're
nothing there that would make a hologram happen.
It's
I'm
very
sure
clear.
there are lights on the wall. This is what I'm saying. I'm sure there were lights on
You
the wall.
tell me that was a practical effect? Because I'm pretty sure that was just CGI bullshit.
I'm just defending the magicians, man.
You are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wigging me out.
Not a good look for you, to be honest.
Sorry, I do not. But no, let's continue. So we get that. It's a show with this, and with this inexplicable blueprint, and then we zoom in to the titles. Now you see me, and I was like, "Yep,
I see you.
I see you," and I'm no impressed. Now we see that they apparently do a show together, as revealed by their made-up science plan, and they are called the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Oh, cool reference, sick, amazing.
What have I wrote here? Yeah, see Jesse Eisenberg, I just feel like he's the poor man's Michael Cera that nobody asked for, but a million times worse.
He's like mean Michael Cera.
He's mean Michael Cera. He's evil Michael Cera, and
Yeah.
nobody asked for that.
No one did. I really liked Jesse Eisenberg in The Social Network, and I enjoyed him in Zombieland. Loved him in Social Network.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I know.
we're not supposed to like Mark Zuckerberg either.
No, right. But yeah, I just thought it was a very good performance and he did it well. But then I'm like, is he just like that?
I think he is just like that.
Yeah. But anyway, so now the four of them, apparently it's like a bit of time later, they're now performing a show in Las Vegas as the Four Horsemen, right? They're the Four Horsemen, and they're like, you've had a great night at our show. And I'm like, have they? We've seen your tricks, they're okay. And it ends with them going, now for our last trick, robbing a bank.
Yeah. No magician could pull this kind of crowd though. Especially because they haven't established themselves as a magician group.
Yeah.
Like, I know that they've got this really, like, they've got, spoiler alert for the next 5 seconds, Michael Caine's their fucking benefactor and he's like a millionaire. But, like, you can't just be like, hi, I'm Michael Caine, I have lots of money, come see my magician show. It doesn't mean people are going to go and fucking see it.
To be fair,
These are street magicians.
they literally have a line where they say, oh, Michael Caine paid for half the audience to show up.
Right.
That's very quick aside. So to answer that question,
How did they get Michael Caine to invest in them?
because very good
Magic.
question. Magic. They're wizards.
Literally. And like this is just going to go for the rest of this film. I know that there's parts where they try to explain a bit of how they've done certain things, but it's the kind of in-between bits. It's like the details of stuff that there's just like no explanation of how they did things. And I made a comparison to you. It's like the TV show that used to be on BBC called Hustle. It was about con men. And they always said something and you're like, how the hell did that turn out to be the way that it was? But at the end of the episode, they would take you through all the steps. And fair enough, some of it was kind of like ridiculous and implausible.
Yep.
But they would show you that at least in the logic of that world, here's how that happened. Here's a step-by-step breakdown of how that happened. So I was like, oh, I can't wait till we get the explanation at the end of this film that's going to explain how they did all this stupid magic trick stuff when there's only 4 of them that are in on this,
Yep.
that are working together. Who's running the rest of the technical like aspects of the
Yep.
stuff behind the scenes? Like
When
that
they're
would have to
actually
be a
performing.
trained magician
Yeah,
as
it does
well.
everything.
Like there's
Who's their tech guy? Who's their Freddie Benson?
like, right? It just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. And I kept being like, man, it is going to be amazing when they try and lay out how this all went down. They just don't.
It's not
Yeah.
it's not the mad hooded man, because I won't say yet, because for anybody watching who's never seen it before, but like he's kind of always about. You always know what the mad hooded
But
man's
also,
doing.
they don't know
Yeah,
who
they
he
don't
is,
know
so
who
he's,
he is.
He's
So
not helping
they
out.
can't get him to like
So-
help out with everything. But I was to say that the film just doesn't even try
Yeah.
to care about what, like, because it isn't trying to suggest that they might be actually magic, and it also isn't trying to explain how it just does whatever the fuck it wants.
Yeah.
And
And then
just
it's
goes,
like,
"Oh,
it was a
magic."
magic
Lawless.
trick.
Totally
Yeah.
lawless.
As if, like, no one knows
Just-
what a magic trick is.
Yeah, just to clarify as well, the mad hooded man's the one who's got them together to see this like dry ice show that they decided to perform in a dingy flat for no reason.
Yeah.
What's that about as well? Sorry, they like a big hologram, just going back a wee bit here, appears in this like disgusting, decrepit flat. That's never explained, is it?
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. Well, none of it makes sense. But yeah, right. We're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves with how it all works out, because I'm going to have to hammer these questions to you later on, because Jesus Christ, some of this is like, right, especially when they're getting wanted by the police and still pulling off all this bullshit. It's like, how? Anyway, so let's do this. So, last trick, robbing a bank. Who in the audience of half paid by our client, who in the audience has a bank they want us to rob? And I was like, oh, rob my bank, woo! It's all crazy kooky fun. And then we cut to Morgan Freeman, who's in this film, and he's just making bootleg videos in the back, just fucking filming them on a camcorder.
Sorry, but am I missing something? Is there a benefit to having your own bank robbed more than any other bank?
I mean, I guess if the money was stolen, then you could get an insurance payout of the money
like,
that was taken.
It's as if that's a normal. Does anyone have a bank they'd like me to rob?
Yeah,
I guess
Who
like,
has a bank in mind?
who
to rob?
hates their own bank?
Yeah.
I do.
Because they never say like, oh, who wants us to rob your bank for you and give you the money? They're just like, who wants us to rob your bank and take your money?
Look, I guess maybe
Question mark?
Is it maybe because look, they do bring up some stuff with Hurricane Katrina later on, and like the
What?
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. No, but they bring up some stuff about the economic depression that's on people,
yeah,
and things that have happened since the 2008 financial crash and how it's affected people. So maybe it's in that time period where people hated their banks more, and that was what they're trying to get on with, and then we've all just went,
Okay.
aye, yeah,
It's
right.
just such a who has a bank they'd like me to rob? Me. Pick my bank or a bank that I know about. I don't know. It was just a really weird, like.
Yeah, it's weird. It's
They were
very
all paying
forced.
off by Michael Caine to respond that way, I guess.
Oh, I guess, right. So, anyway, as I say, Morgan Freeman is in the back making bootleg videos. Clearly got a deadline or a sale to make because his phone is confiscated, and he swaps it for his wee pedo camera that he's got. And this little fucking scopy camera that he just sits like this with. Aye, and that's what they do. So they're sitting, the audience is going crazy, and they pick a French guy, forget his name, doesn't really matter, and they're like, he's like, oh, I'm an assistant manager, or I'm a high up in this bank, rob my bank. That's definitely going to get him fired for saying that. But they then give their shout out to Michael Caine. As we say, Michael Caine is their benefactor. He's sitting there like looking smug, and like honestly, he just looks bored as fuck, to be honest. I say looks smug, it's just he looks like Michael Caine just going, yep, paycheck, cool, here I am.
Here's the other thing that I've just realised, right? Because right, so obviously the mad hooded man's got them together to do this magic show.
Yes.
Why has Michael Caine invested in them?
That's what I'm
Because
saying.
they're not working.
That's what we were saying.
They're not working for Michael
we
Caine,
don't
really.
really know why.
don't know how they-
I feel like there might have been a stray line of dialogue that
Because it's not like the mad hooded man has like crazy connections. He's got some connections, but not Michael Caine connections. So
I don't know. I don't
what's
know.
going on?
There's probably some magic trick
happening?
that tricked him into investing.
Yeah, I'm sure they said it in like one line of dialogue, but who cares? So Michael Caine is on board, and they give the banker some mumble jumble bullshit chat that doesn't matter. Written that down, and they give him a lame headset that doesn't matter. Looks like he's trying out a shit VR headset. Again, who cares? They then literally cast a magic spell to warp some sheets to just float around the stage, and then they conjure a machine out of that. And then they teleport this French guy to his bank, okay? And I've written down how. Now, thankfully they do explain some of that later on, but I've written a lot of hows in this, and only some of them get explained.
Here's the thing though, the big tricks that they do, right? They do go like, this is how we did it, and it is like a logical explanation, but then
But it's everything around the trick.
yeah, it's like, oh look, Isla Fisher made these sheets like fucking swim about the air, like
That's not how things work.
Yeah.
They're wizards.
My
They
main
are
thing
fucking
is,
sorcerers
if
of an elder creed, and they're just going, haha. They're pretending to be magicians because it's the only way they can exist.
They are so cheeky with what they choose to explain.
Yeah.
Because, like, basically to get this audience plant picked out, they're like, we're going to pick someone at random. So someone from the audience pass me a ball, that'll decide which section of the arena. This is going to decide the row. This is going to decide the seat number. And they spend like 5 minutes with the guy being like, but the guy was picked at random. And it's like, but was he? We just palmed another ball with a different number in it. And I'm like, that bit wasn't impressive. That bit wasn't like, how did they pull that off?
I want to know
obvious.
how Isla Fisher was making sheets fly about.
Yeah, no, definitely. Right. So I'm gonna corral this a little bit because we do get to the explanations of the tricks, and I don't want us to present half the trick and then start explaining it.
Yeah.
Because it's already confusing enough. So the trick is they get the French guy up on stage. Where's your bank? Oh, put your magical teleportation headset on. Step into a teleporter. They disappear him, and suddenly he's in his bank. How's he in his own bank? It's euros, French money. Oh my god! And then they literally vacuum up the money from Paris and have it pour out over the audience in Las Vegas. Again, how? They do explain it, but they shout it to the Americans. My reaction would be, but it's no dollars, is it? Do you mean they're just waiting there all these euros? I'd be like, oh,
I'm gonna have to exchange this. That's a pain.
That's a bit fucking annoying. Cheers, guys.
I only managed to grab 40 euros.
That's what happened. If he did this in Glasgow, folk would be like, we don't have euros here, mate. Do you know what I mean? They get fucking heckling out of there for that bullshit. But the Americans love it. But anyway, they bow, they go home. Right? And they cause a fucking international incident. International incident. Mark Ruffalo appears as Detective Dylan. So I'm hereby referred to as Dilzo. So Dilzo gets informed of the robbery, and he is immediately a pain in the ass. Everyone is so fucking smarmy in this film. Everyone's like, it feels like Jesse Eisenberg wrote the script for everyone.
Yeah.
It's almost like, hey, Jesse Eisenberg.
Like me.
Yeah, see that like really annoying fucking punch in your face quality that you have to every role? Can you rewrite the script and give everyone that quality? Great. Thanks, man. So Dilzo gets debriefed by Interpol agent Melanie Laurent, and I love Melanie Laurent as an actress. She's the lead in Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, right.
Right.
Yeah, I like that film.
I also thought I got her confused with Clemence Posey, who plays Fleur de la Cour, but in Harry Potter, but it's not her. They're just quite similar. But no, I love her, and I love her in this. And I'm pretty sure she was in this film with that Beginners film with Ewan McGregor. Again, could be Clemence Posey. Maybe I'm fucking up again. But anyway, Melanie Laurent. This film, she's actually brings a bit of heart to what is a very badly underwritten role.
Maybe the only character who's meant to be likeable.
Yeah, right. And but yeah, she's great in Inglourious Bastards. So I was just, as soon as I saw her, I was like, yay! And I fell. I've written down beautiful, love her. I fell for her. No, I think I wrote something like, I would give up everything just to be there.
Is that what you wrote? Yeah.
I don't know where it is. I didn't get too bad with it, but no, she's beautiful and she's great. She's a good presence to have. However, she's doing a lot of exposition. So she's like they reveal that half the audience was hypnotized. The French guy is obviously accused of being in on it. So they start interviewing the French guy, and Mark Ruffalo's got no time for this. He's like, I fucking busted up crime rings. I don't need to do this. And then when he says the word bullshit, it triggers the French guy to start, he's actually hypnotized, and he starts like playing a piano or a violin concerto, and it's meant to be funny, but
it isn't.
It's no. Meanwhile, Woody Harrelson, so they're all arrested. I should make this clear that they're all getting interrogated for this big fucking heist. So Woody Harrelson reveals that his brother stole some money, which, doesn't get brought up again later. Doesn't go anywhere.
His brother was his manager and like ripped him off. I thought that was going to come up at some point.
Yeah, I felt like it's not even a red herring. It's literally just...
I think it was just their attempt to give him some kind of characterization.
Yeah, it feels like they were like, that was a leftover from an earlier script, and they went, no, we didn't edit that out though.
Mark Ruffalo has absolutely no chill at this point as well, because once he's interviewing Jesse Eisenberg, he just starts fucking shaking him about and being like, I don't fucking have time for this, and you're like, mate, he's a witness, calm down.
Like literally within 5 seconds, he's like fucking manhandling Jesse Eisenberg, and it's like, right.
Are you allowed to just assault witnesses now?
No.
In the force?
So Detective Dylan Dilzo gives gives a whole, I caught a fake Al Capone, apparently. But he's saying, I caught mob bosses, and I can catch you. Jesse Eisenberg is insufferable. Discuss. We've already discussed it. Yep, as usual. So him and Mark Ruffalo together has there is an energy. They do bring an energy to the scene.
I don't want it.
I don't want it. No, yeah, but is it the energy we want? Sorry, I don't think so.
Do you know, I really like Mark Ruffalo as well. I think that whenever I see him, I'm a bit more, not necessarily in this film, but just in general, I'm like, oh, I like him.
I do like him as an actor, and I think he's quite sexy. I think he's good.
See,
Yeah, he's kind of
I've got a lot of problems with Mark Ruffalo now. He really annoys the shit out of me. Seeing interviews when he's just like, I'm just like, man, can you do something else than that?
I just find, especially in this interrogation scene, that it just made me immediately think right.
Yeah, that's the energy he brings to that film, and you're like, I don't know if I need this, but
Just
I'm
for
glad.
the listeners, there's a picture of Mark Ruffalo getting interviewed for this film up on the screen, and he looks like I don't know, a sleep paralysis demon.
He does look like a sleep paralysis demon, and he also, look, I am glad he is bringing energy to the film because it did keep me interested, didn't keep Abby awake.
He's a wee bit of a papas in this film, isn't he?
He is, I was going to say that.
yeah.
He is like Papas from Point Break.
Yeah.
What were you saying though? You were saying a point.
Yeah, so I just, especially in this interrogation scene with all these mad magician arseholes, it just feels like what would happen if you got all of the nasty losers from your school and uni and stuff like that who were just always arseholes and always smarmy and up themselves, and then gave them literal magic powers. This is what would happen.
Yes.
This is again another one of my this film is so does the most, but is also so lazy at the same time, and that's why I detest it. Because at the end of Dave Franco's interrogation, or Jesse
we don't
Eisenberg's,
see Dave Franco's interrogation because they don't give a fuck about him and Isla Fisher.
So
at the
they
end
aren't
of-
even getting interrogated.
at the end of Jesse Eisenberg then's interrogation, he goes like a wee hand flick thing, and then suddenly Mark Ruffalo's got the handcuffs on, not Jesse Eisenberg, and I'm like, but magicians use things that are custom made, in order to be able to do magic tricks.
Yeah, you can't just
interact with things in your environment, and
because then you would be a mage. Then you'd be a wizard. That's how magicians work. That's how an actual wizard and sorcerer
That is
operates.
magic.
That's magic.
Actual magic,
Like
though.
real magic.
You can't manipulate with your mind a pair of handcuffs onto another person. That's not how that works. That's when I just started to go this can't be what this whole film is like.
It is.
And then, luckily
also-
I had you
And there's a
as kind of
sequel.
Also, I started watching the first 10 minutes of
you
that, and I was
suck.
like,
Sorry, that was-
that's
So she started watching the first 10 minutes of that, and then was like, I don't think this is the right film. How many times have we done this? Collectively as a three, started watching the wrong film.
But also at this point as well, because he's like, look, Jesse Eisenberg basically, when he's getting interrogated, is like, you basically can't touch me, because if you say that I'm the bank robber, you're just agreeing that magic is real, and you're not going to do that because you're a cop and you clearly don't think magic is real, so else to you. And then he handcuffs him, and then you're like, I think that would give him warrant to maybe arrest him, handcuffing a fucking cop.
Yeah.
So but Mark Ruffalo's like, oh gosh darn it, he's got me again.
He's got me in this logical
Yeah, let him go, I guess. And you're like,
No, keep him.
Aye.
How have they done
Keep
this?
him.
How have they done this? Oh, they must not have. They clearly fucking did, mate. Anyway, so we'll continue on. As I say, Isla Fisher is not interrogated because of sexism.
At this point, have they explained how the plant came to be the plant?
No.
no, not yet.
Okay.
What plant? The
French guy.
No, not yet.
No,
not
not
yet.
yet.
We get
That's
to
quite
that.
a wee bit away, isn't it?
Yeah, it takes some time. Yeah, I know. So we also get revealed, this is actually a plot strand that does go places, that Detective Dylan, Mark Ruffalo, Dilzo, has daddy issues.
Yeah.
He gets raging when his dad gets brought up by Woody Harrelson being a mentalist and reading his mind. Also, the film is way too long. It's a 2-hour film, hour 50 minutes. Feels like 2.5 hours long. It should be an hour and 20 minutes.
Do you know what? It felt like an hour though. I was kind of wanting more.
You wanted.
Oh, we're going to get to this. Oh,
It's like some kind of you're like
this is a
fucking
joke. We were so stressed.
film masochist where you just enjoy hating things.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it's a great film. I just loved how much I hated it.
Fair. Okay.
I mean, I enjoyed watching it with you the second time because Well, yeah, basically, not far long after this, I fell into like an absolutely intoxicating slumber that I could not be woken from. Even when my eyes were open, I was just like staring at this film going, I have to watch this. I can't turn this off and go to bed because this is my only chance to watch this film.
And I was like, Abby, just go to bed, man. Just go to bed. And you were like, I can't. I've got no chance and I can't trust myself to wake up. And I was like, but you're not watching it. You're like, I'm just looking and nothing's going in. I'm looking at imagery. Nothing's happening. I'm like, man, go to bed.
I was literally asleep like with my eyes open and just like, I have not taken any of this in.
They
I was like,
hypnotised you. You got hypnotised. That's a bit cringe.
But basically, I just kept seeing like snatches of things, and I was like, I don't have a clue what's going on. It's Swanny's just sitting next to me, scribbling furiously on plot details, occasionally being like, yeah, no, never mind. Anyway, last 5 minutes of the film, I finally kind of come to, and I'm like, oh, now I feel awake. And the film finishes, and I was like, I feel like I need to maybe watch that again.
Yeah, so
and then we just canned a beer.
We got a couple of beers, and then just fucking went through it again. Finished it at 3 a.m. Great. Again, thanks. Anyway,
that's like this is possibly one of the worst films you could do that with.
Oh, terrible.
I felt like it was a 5-hour experience because we kept pausing it to talk initially as well, and I was like, man, I'm getting sleepy. We can't keep pausing this film. Like,
I was like, I can't write fast enough. I can't write about this pish enough.
Honestly, it was harrowing. It was like an unhinged film experience.
And you were just like, Claude's going to be so sad at us. You're going to be so angry if I don't watch it. And I'm like, aye. And then when I text Claude today, like, oh, what do you think of the film? She's like, I've not fucking watched it yet. I'm watching it right now. And I was like, I want to kill. Anyway, I know what it's like to be me. To watch these things with me.
It's just so funny. Like, this film didn't need sleep deprivation and a rewatch 40 minutes after you'd finished it and alcohol and 3 o'clock in the morning, but we did all of that.
Yeah, we did all of that. Yeah, and yeah, anyway. So continuing on, as I say, we get revealed that Detective Dillon has daddy issues, and this whole conversation back and forth with him and Jesse Eisenberg. So we're intercut between the different interrogations, but this one specifically with Jesse Eisenberg and Mark Ruffalo ends with them trying to outdoing each other. But no one comes off good.
No.
At all. And it ends with him getting they have to release them because they've got nothing on them. And this is when what's his name? Mark Ruffalo walks outside and he's absolutely raging, and his partner comes up to him and is like, oh my god, you seem really into this now. I thought you weren't going to do it. He goes, yeah, until I met them. And it's like, right, okay, so now he's on board. And then his pal goes, somehow without laughing, goes, hey, maybe you should ask Thaddeus Bradley to get involved.
Wait. We've also skipped past one of the most ridiculous lines ever that gets referenced later on, is that Jesse Eisenberg says to Mark Ruffalo, the first rule of magic, always be the smartest guy in the room.
Oh, fuck, he does say that.
It's just so cringy. And it gets brought up again and again. And I'm like,
it's a good line of dialogue.
Another thing that keeps getting brought up is him being like, you're looking too closely into this. Like,
look closer.
The whole kind of look closer, now you see me. But it feels like it doesn't go anywhere. It feels like it's supposed to be like a life lesson by the end of the film. Like, don't look too close into things. Like, look at the bigger picture and you'll see everything. I don't know, but
yeah,
like,
or like if you actually look it back, you'll
why?
You'll see something
it's a
big.
clue or something.
Yeah, there'll be a revelation
it
to work
somehow
out.
Connects to how the whole plot resolves, but it doesn't.
It's just stupid.
We hear first mention of Thaddeus Bradley, and then we meet him.
Thaddeus Bradley.
Thaddeus Bradley.
The first mention of the way he's introduced is, and this gets used again twice, but not like as a reference back to when it was said the first time.
Yeah,
They keep just referring to him this way. Thaddeus Bradley, the guy from TV with the DVDs and the shows.
That's what they keep saying over and over.
Thaddeus Bradley? You've not heard of Thaddeus Bradley? Thaddeus Bradley, the guy from TV with the DVDs and the shows.
You know,
like,
Thaddeus Bradley.
What is that? Not like, from this program or from this
they don't
show.
name it.
It's like the most generic, weird descriptors of him ever. And the guy says it with a straight face. And then later on in this film as well, he gets referred to in like almost the exact same way again, with this kind of vague. It's almost as if like the script said we'll come up with a name.
Yeah, we'll have a show
film.
come up.
Yeah, we'll have and they just never changed it. And then they filmed it and they're like, oh, we forgot to add something in there. Oh well, no one will notice.
Here's a good one. Investigations with Thaddeus Bradley.
That could actually be the title of this film. No one will notice.
Aye. So Thaddeus Bradley, just for clarification, is played by Morgan Freeman, the guy that we saw earlier.
Repeatedly in my notes as well, right? Like actors' names with loads of question marks and exclamation marks after it. Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, why are they here? So we meet him, and it's revealed just for anyone, his shows and DVDs, he's not just making shows and DVDs, it's tied into the plot, thankfully. He is Thaddeus Bradley, a bit, played by Morgan Freeman. He is a guy that exposes magicians.
As a job.
As a job. His name, he's Lord Buzzkill. And he's just like, it's not even like he's getting over on psychics or like exploiting people's pain and stuff like that. He's literally just busting, exposing magicians. And then we get so we meet him, Dylan meets him, and
by the way, like in real life, if your job was to make videos exposing how magicians did their tricks, you would definitely be doing that from like a basement somewhere. For some reason, he's this kind of suave man of the world with loads of money.
Yeah, somehow.
Like
again, inexplicably. So yeah, and he's very smug. Everyone's fucking smug in this film. And he's like, I've solved this mystery. So he takes us and Ruffalo through the first rule of magic. What do we think the first rule of magic is, guys? Can we remember what they taught us? What's the first rule of magic?
I thought it would be the smartest guy in the room.
That's not the first rule of magic. That's the first rule of wizardry.
No, that's the first rule of magic.
Oh my God. So anyway, we've got 2 first rules of magic. This fucking film!
Is the first rule of magic not to look closely into magic?
That's
Is that not also the first rule of magic?
I think there's 3 first rules of magic. It just depends on who you fucking ask. So, as what's his name? As Thaddeus Bradley, Morgan Freeman
Is that
reveals.
something about a distraction?
Misdirection.
Yes.
So yeah, you're close.
Thank
but
you.
yeah, so they go back to the stage. It's their crime scene, the stage in the Las Vegas where the heist took place, quote unquote. And he starts revealing how they did it. So he goes, "What's the first rule of magic?" Which we've already heard. Yeah, misdirection. Apparently, yeah, it is misdirection because we don't fucking know what it is because you've given us 3. Anyway, so
this whole film is just misdirection, but with no magic trick at the end.
Yeah. Oh God, right.
It's just no point.
Yeah, right. So, barreling on. So they faked the bank. Okay, so this bank that the French guy got teleported to that we saw wasn't actually his bank. Of course it wasn't. He just fell to the floor and he was hypnotised and it was fake money. All right, let me just get to this quickly. I'm going to just explain how they did this trick really fucking quickly. So they faked the bank under the floor. They hypnotised and stalked the banker for weeks on end. Got all his details, grabbed his face so they could get his head measurements, got his PIN number so they know what bank he was part. All this. They picked the seat. They made sure he was on that seat. They hypnotised him, as I say. So they triggered the banker on stage, and then right after doing all this complicated bullshit to get this guy underground, making him think he's robbing his real bank, they then robbed an armoured truck in Paris and burnt the real money in a Parisian vault. So they can do that, apparently. Again, they're mages.
I love that. Like, let me explain how they did this seemingly impossible trick by doing another impossible trick they were just not going to explain.
They're hiding in the actual the structure of the fucking bank of the armored vehicle. They're lying in it. You see their eyes are like, He's like, guys,
yeah, I know.
Do anything else.
There's just so many things. Like they controlled this guy. To what was it? They walk past him and they're like, Las Vegas.
Yeah.
He's like teaching out of the subway and Franco runs past him and goes, Las Vegas.
And then Isla Fisher grabs his head and is like, yeah, I got his measurements. It's like,
why did they need his head measurements?
Don't know, man.
Oh, for the helmet.
But why do they need the helmet? Oh, it's misdirection. Sorry, it's the first rule of magic, misdirection. Let's look at our bullshit contraption.
Just make the helmet adjustable.
I mean, I got on the subway this morning.
And put a strap on it.
Put a strap on that helmet and get it sorted. Don't you fucking be touching guys' faces like that. Oh, what were you going to say about your subway, Abby? Take us out of this hell.
I got on the subway this morning and someone was talking about the fact they were getting off at Govan. But I didn't just get mind controlled into getting off at Govan. What? Like, someone walks past you once and goes, Las Vegas, and you're here. You go to Las Vegas to see a magic show?
So have you ever been
So even like Dave Franco's the hypnotist.
Right? There you go. It's Woody Harrelson. Anyway, no, fair point. Yeah, even their own logic doesn't make sense. Look, to be fair, the one thing I'll say is I have seen that done effectively. Darren Brown did it. We went to go see Darren Brown and...
I wish Darren Brown was in this film.
So do I. No, we went to go see Darren Brown and he got us to pick some stuff at random, quote unquote, but he basically been setting up the numbers all the way into the theatre, and most of the people did pick those numbers because they'd seen them. So it is a thing that can be done, and this really happened.
Yeah, but not by
Dave fucking Franco. Sorry for screaming. Not by Dave Franco.
Sorry, I screamed.
The other
thing as well I think is hilarious is one, again, who built this room underneath the stage for them, and why did none of the staff who work in this theatre know about it?
Yeah, why is no one? Why were they not arrested?
2, how did they manage to arrest all of the people and interview them before they investigated the massive room under the ground?
But surely-
That's a really good point, actually.
Like, how did it take them that long?
How did it take Thaddeus Bradley to go, by the way, check under the stage?
Right.
Right.
Surely Michael Caine would have had to have funded the creation of that room under the stage in this
Why
Las
is he not in
Vegas
jail?
venue as well.
Why did none of the staff at the theatre notice that room looked like a bank vault was being built under the stage?
I don't know. And they didn't make it themselves. They would have had to have got guys to do it. They're fucking magicians and no builders. Do you know what I mean? Someone would have
see
known
the
about
number
this.
Who's their crew?
See the number of things that they would have had to have done for themselves if they are not involved in other things. So right now they're like, yeah, construction workers, brickies, as well as magicians. This list we can add to as the film goes on, because the number of things that they would have had to have been like actually like technical prowesses at in order to do by themselves whilst they were doing actual magic tricks.
Yeah, so we have two things there. They either do it all themselves and it doesn't make any sense, or they're mages, which covers most of it. Or we have Michael Caine's elite connection of fucking builders and brickies and gaffers and lighting technicians somehow not getting investigated for any of the shit that they do. So we'll leave that one for you guys to think about right now. Which one's more likely? The answer is it's a bad script.
They also explain the way that they get rid of the money in the actual vault.
Oh,
So
yes,
basically,
of course.
they steal the money out of the armoured vehicle, right? And
Yeah.
they give that to the audience in the Las Vegas venue that they're performing at. They replace it with fake money that magicians use that can be easily set on fire,
Yep.
disintegrates very quickly, and doesn't leave any smoke residue. So,
Aye. Cool. Again, more complicated
How
than
did they
just...
make
Why
it rain
do-
money?
Because it's like not real money, or that is the money, and it's the money that they've already stolen beforehand. So,
here's my
I know.
here's my issue with it though, right? So they
How did they get that money abroad?
No, listen, they
Sorry.
suck all the money out of the fake vault room, very complicated, and then like put it into the crowd, right? And then they're like, yeah, and we burnt the fake money in the Paris vault. And it's like, why'd you have to burn it? Why did you have to put any there at all? You stole it.
Yeah, but they also, but don't
do you know what I
they-
mean?
but-
Like-
yeah, no, I get you, but don't they also burn the money for the French guy's benefit as well? So he thinks it's got.
It doesn't make any
It doesn't
fucking
make sense.
All very
we've missed
upsetting.
it, but also who cares?
I think that's when I turned to you and went, this film's going to be a huge fucking waste of time, isn't it?
Yes, and I was like sitting here knowing the twist, going even more than you think. Even more.
I honestly couldn't fathom what it was going to be.
Because I kept going, if you guessed the twist, you're like, how can I have guessed the twist? I've been half asleep.
been no plot.
There's been no plot. And I'm like, yeah, man, think of the worst thing that could happen. And it does. So, continuing on, they then fly to New Orleans for the next show. So, the one good thing I'll say about this film is it does have a very clear structure. You get the first act, which is called the first act show, and then you get the second act, which is called the second act show, then you get the third act, which is called the third act show. And that's about as good as the script gets. What are you going to say? I felt you meant to say something.
Did we scoot past where we learned about Lionel?
Maybe, but it comes up.
Okay, that's it.
We'll cover Lionel in a little bit.
Very funny though. He's speaking to Thaddeus Brownlee or whatever his name is.
Thaddeus Bradley. Thaddeus Bradley.
Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo speaking to
Thaddeus
Brownlee. Bradley. And he's like, well, you're going to have to go to their next show in New Orleans and find out what happened. And again, Mark Ruffalo's a shite cop because he's like, how could you possibly know they're going to New Orleans? And he's like, it's on their flyer, mate. That they gave out to everyone in the audience.
That's really the first reveal of the twist, isn't it? Barry, continuing on. So, fly to New Orleans for the next show. Jesse Eisenberg gets buoyed by Michael Caine. Yeah, so this was a fucking stupid as fuck scene. Oh, this needed cut. They're on the plane and Michael Caine just doesn't give a fuck, and he's like, Jesse Eisenberg starts making fun of Woody Harrelson for being a mentalist, able to read minds. Woody Harrelson's like, ha ha ha, you suck, ha, back and forth. And then Jesse Eisenberg's like, oh, you think you're so great because you know how to be a mentalist? Well, it's not that hard. Anyone can do it. I could do it, blah, blah, blah. And then Michael Caine's like, all right. Well, I'm not even going to do the impression. I was about to. But he's like, yeah, you're lucky. Because I could feel it and it didn't feel right coming out, so I just stopped. But yeah, Jesse Eisenberg starts trying to guess things about Michael Caine. He's like, oh, you're kind of rough upbringing. You had a dog called that. And he's like, no, I was actually posh and I had this. And then this scene goes on for about 10 fucking minutes of just them bullshitting and making fun of Jesse Eisenberg. And Michael Caine just making up backstories for himself. And I was just like,
We don't need this.
We don't need this. And then I watched the rest of the film and I was like, we definitely didn't need that.
It had nothing to do with anything.
Oh,
and when he
10
gets
minutes.
like,
That's when you started falling asleep.
well, no. So I had been falling asleep.
Wait, I think this scene might have a point, but I can't explain what that point is yet. But
Oh, okay.
okay,
No,
But
I think it does though.
what with Ruffalo?
No, but we'll go on.
Okay. We'll just bring it up when it comes up. 'Cause I
Yeah, I'll
want to
bring
hear
it up.
This film, this scene, I had already been kind of drifting in and out at this point. There's two things that I wanted to bring up with this scene. One is that when Jesse Eisenberg realizes that they're making fun of him and he's getting nowhere, he does the most pathetic little like punch of the overhead kick. But it's almost like they were like he didn't actually want to hurt his hand and he refused to punch it. Fuck. Like he goes like this, he goes, fuck. And it was like, what was that? What was that meant to be?
The way he does that is actually going to be referenced in our film for next week, when someone also goes fuck, and it's very, very similar energy. But we'll get to what that film is later.
It's the Lost Boys.
Have I jumped ahead a week?
Yes. I was like, you've not seen the Lost Boys. How do you know what's in our film for next week?
Well, ignore that then.
Anyway, so yeah, and then the other thing is, at this point I've been drifting in and out a little bit, and at one point they're talking about who they're going to like mind read, and he goes, I'll do Jasmine, and it kind of cuts this girl who's sitting on the plane, and I'm like, Swanny, who's Jasmine? And Swanny goes, I don't know,
Jasmine?
she's not been in the film.
She's a character called Jasmine.
In this plane with them, and then I guess she's never in it again.
Oh, they mention her one other point, I think.
Who
I
is
think
she?
you once again.
She's like their
of course she knows.
assistant, isn't she?
I don't know. I have no
Is she
idea.
not? I thought that she was Morgan Freeman's mate.
Oh, maybe that. Maybe. Well, then why are they asking for it on the
Yeah,
plane?
I don't
Where he's
know.
not-
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying.
know.
Anyway,
I don't know.
Anyway, I'm going
I thought they were the same character, but I don't think they are.
Get me off this plane. Get me off this fucking plane. Crash it if you need
Get
to.
phobe this plane for me,
Get
man.
from this fucking plane. Pop the window, suck me out, kill me. Right. That was a Goldfinger reference for everyone. I wasn't just being insane. Pop the plane, kill me. Fucking hell. Okay, so thankfully, inexplicably, we leave this plane, and we cut to Melanie Laurent, Interpol agent, being sent from France because obviously there's been a Parisian bank fucking heist somehow, and we're there with Delzo. Mark Ruffalo, and we begin a little recurring chat of magic is real ? Between them, and this is when she gives a story about a bridge and a locket and keys, and you put a secret into a lock and you lock it on the bridge and you throw the key and you have the wish hidden forever. Like I've seen those things. I've done one of those. I didn't actually do it myself, but I wanted to, and it's really beautiful. It's lovely, but she's like, it was real and magical. And it's like, that's not the kind of magic we're talking about, Melanie Laurent. Yeah, that can be magical because you're meaning the word magic to mean, oh wow, otherworldly. It transcends the human condition. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about fucking tricky magician wizard bastards. And you're saying going magic is real. Mark Ruffalo should have went, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Anyway.
I think he did. He just does that to her.
Yeah, but
the entire film, but not in that moment.
Yeah, but he doesn't clarify. He doesn't go, no, we're talking about different kinds of magic. I don't know. Any thoughts on that? No?
I guess she's just saying like, yeah, magic doesn't have to be real in order for it to be real. And it's like, shut up,
and
man.
honestly, that's as deep as we get with any themes that this film might have.
That's like the closest we come to a theme.
And then it ends with like the fucking the most slap in the face ever to anyone actually trying to pay attention. She goes, do you think it's possible there's a fifth horseman? And I'm like, aye, there's about 400 of them. They're employed by Michael Caine. They're the fucking galloping squad. There's a stampede of fucking pricks doing all this shit. A fifth horseman. What the fuck are you talking about? Again, this is also Melanie Laurent revealing that, well, great and really fun to watch. She definitely shouldn't. She's in the wrong job. Completely in the wrong job.
Yeah, like, oh, maybe the magic is real, maybe it's not. Why are you a cop?
Why are you devil's advocating for these guys? What's going on?
Also, I know I'm backtracking a wee bit here,
Fine.
but why does Mark Ruffalo hate Interpol? Is that international police? I
Yeah,
imagine?
so it's like a European police thing.
So why is he just like, I'm an American and I don't want the international police getting involved?
That's it. Yep.
Also, I again have been half asleep and I've just written down some obscene quotes. I don't even know. I can't actually picture where these are, but I hope that it did happen in this film and not in some weird dream that I've had.
Easily could have.
Say the magic word. Blow me.
I don't think that was.
That does. Yeah.
Okay.
What's that?
It's when Morgan Freeman's showing Mark Ruffalo how their trick happened, and then he puts the helmet on him and he's like, oh, say the magic word, and then Mark Ruffalo goes, blow me, and then he was like, that'll do, and then he puts him into the floor, and that's how
so that's when they revealed
it.
the bank stuff.
Disgusting.
Yeah, disgusting. So, right, I'm going to continue on. Do you have another quote, sorry?
Yes.
Sorry, go.
Think of me as your personal corkscrew.
Oh, that was
That's
bad.
something that Woody Harrelson says to Isla Fisher, because he basically deduces from her as a mentalist that she's not shagged in a while, and he's like, I could shag you because you haven't been corkscrewed recently, and I could be your corkscrew.
Is that what that is?
Yep.
That's shocking.
Yep.
That's bogging.
Aye.
I hate this film so
He's
much.
even worse than you thought.
Yeah. So right. Speeding on. So there's a I've circled it. Do you think there's a fifth horseman? Aye, of course there is. What are you talking about?
There's 400 horsemen.
Yeah, there's a stampede of horses. Anyway, Dilzo and his team of FBI agents, including Interpol agent Melanie Laurent, set up watching them all. They're like, right, we've got them all on tag, we've got all cameraed, we've got them all bugged. If they do anything, we're going to get them, we're going to prove it, blah, 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 blah. And then we cut to a new scene. This is also a scene that should have been cut, of Michael Caine trying to bribe and pay off Morgan Freeman. And we're getting a little bit. This is actually the only scene that Michael Caine seems to be trying in. Like, because he's like, okay, cool, I'm getting to work on a one-on-one scene with dialogue with Morgan Freeman. Like, okay, that'll be fun. Let's do that. Because they've been in a few films together, but they don't really have many scenes. Like the Dark Knight trilogy, they're not really sharing much screen time. So I definitely saw Michael Caine being like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. Let's have a good time. And he fucking has some weird, like, decisions that he makes. Like, he starts threatening Morgan Freeman with a horrible wee doll that he just picks off of, like, the shelf. And it's just like, and it's like, whoa, why is this happening? Who's this for?
I just never thought I'd witness Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine, established, esteemed actors, fighting over magicians. It's never
In this film.
To be fair, man, they've been in a lot of pish as well as a lot of good stuff.
Aye, I see yous, man. I see yous.
Now you see me. Shite. So, now we're on to the second act show. Woo!
Which is held in the Savoy.
Held in the Savoy in fucking New Orleans. And we just get a lot of stupid magic trick chat. We're getting a lot of, like, they come out of the stage even more cringe than before, giving the, look closely, we're here, da-da-da-da. And, they're just sitting giving all this, they're doing something about a rabbit, and they're just doing a lot of bullshit. And I'm like, okay.
Established from the beginning, they're like, we're going to do a lot of shite tricks, but they're not going to seem like they mean anything, but they do. And that is what they do. And then they hold out all these, like...
They don't. Well, they do in one theory, like someone proposes. Anyway, look, they start fucking about.
Cammy. You alright?
If you hear that, Cammy, we're like, you alright?
Cammy just put a meme on the screen.
And he just went, it's a bit
that gives
pish,
away
innit?
the ending of the film.
Oh, God. Cheers. All right. Cheers, Cammy. Fuck. Nah,
Got a wee bit fucking sugar happy with a mouse there, man. Didn't give that boy internet.
Right.
Any juice in this?
Any too much juice in it. Anyway, cool. Look closely bullshit. And then...
What?
No, that's what they're giving a lot of the closely.
Right, sorry. I thought, because whenever you say bullshit, I thought you were trying to...
Oh, I get what you said. No.
Hypnotise Abby.
Yeah, no, look closely. A lot of chat of that. They're doing the magic show. People are loving it for some reason. And then they conjure bubble magic.
Yeah, Isla Fisher, like Galinda the Good Witch, flies across the stage inside a bubble. And we never know why, and we also never know why that's necessary. It's got nothing to do with any of
We
the
don't know how, we don't know why.
Don't explain the magic.
We don't know what.
Don't explain the trick. Again, it's one of these tricks where you're like, I want to know how that happened.
She's a witch.
No.
She's a witch.
No, and it has nothing to do with anything.
No.
Also, completely ruined by the fact that she falls out of her bubble. Jesse Eisenberg catches her and is like, wow, you have lost weight.
Yeah, shocking, right?
hate this film.
It's so bad. So,
this film
so then
so much.
we also get Dave Franco cutting a pencil in half.
Mind him.
Mind him. Yeah, we see Dave Franco is like, I can do things too at this magic show. He cuts a pencil in half with a card. I've written here, from Dave Franco, who's done nothing in this film.
Dave Franco is the hooded man's wee brother. That's the only reason he could possibly be involved in this.
Anyway.
All he's done so far is rob some guy, and that's it.
That's it. Well, we're going to get to what he can do very soon, though.
Yep.
Because, look, they're really downplaying that Dave Franco can do nothing and he's going to be nothing in the film, and then inexplicably he might be the most powerful magic wielder that we've ever witnessed in the history of cinema.
He's Gandalf.
He's better than Gandalf. He's Gandalf if he was young. We'll get there. So, anyway, people clap for them. But, as we've established, they're not actually good magicians, they're just wizards. So that goes hollow. Woody Harrelson starts guessing folks' PIN numbers and then guessing their account balances, and then it's very clearly he's going to fill these bank balances up, like a very cringe Robin Hood style shtick, which is exactly what they do. Michael Caine, they cut to him in the box, he's not giving a fuck. He's not even looking where they are. I remember he's just looking off at the crowd. It's so elaborate. Okay, it's such an elaborate setup for this trick that they're trying to do, which I'm going to explain. So elaborate, and I guess that's the point. So the trick is they start moving numbers. So they get Michael Caine to come on stage like, this is our benefactor. Wow, look how much money he's giving to this cause. It's like 126 million or something like that, right? And they start moving numbers.
No, that's not the money he's giving his cause. That's his bank balance. That's Michael Caine's bank balance.
144 million.
That's not that much. I thought he had much more than that.
Yeah, that's kind of. I also thought that when I was watching it, I was like, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I thought he was a billionaire. Anyway, so he comes on, shows his bank balance on a big fucking fancy check. They start doing some light magic, and it's like a trick of hand. The numbers start going off of his bank balance and start going into audience members' bank balances, and everyone's like, ooh, and then. Yeah, so what Michael Caine's called Tresler. We should probably get that, Mr. Tresler, whatever.
Who fucking cares?
Yeah, who cares?
He's Michael Caine.
I'm going to be throwing that name out later, that's why. And they then essentially start going, oh, we've not been honest with you. We actually have an ulterior motive here. This isn't just a trick. We're actually robbing Michael Caine and giving the money to you because he's to blame for Hurricane Katrina, basically.
Literally, they're like, but they don't actually say Hurricane Katrina as if it's like insensitive. They just vaguely mention this natural disaster which cost lots of people like money and their lives and their homes, and then they're like in this state specifically, and it's just like they vaguely reference Hurricane Katrina
and how bad the insurance companies were responding to it. Not helping people out, which happened. He was like owner of this insurance company, and it's just like so strange. I was like, why is this about Hurricane Katrina?
What a strange way to bring realism to this film.
Really weird, right?
Right?
Like, but they don't say, I don't understand why they don't just say Hurricane Katrina.
I don't know.
It's like they really try to dance around the point, and it's like
Hurricane Katrina's like copyrighted.
Yeah, so I was kind of at this point like, oh, is Michael Caine in on this? Is this kind of like, no, he's not. Michael Caine is absolutely not. He's just woken up and he's like, wait there, what's happening? And he gets absolutely buoyed on stage, absolutely shamed.
So they drain his entire bank account and give it to the victims of the Hurricane Katrina.
Not his entire bank account, like 3 million's worth.
Yeah, they take 3 million out of his bank. No, I think it's meant more this time. I think it's 3 million the first time, and it's 3 million from the first robbery, and it's a lot more of this. Fuck knows, who cares?
But it's not his. It's not even nearly his whole bank account.
Yeah, so
is it not? I thought that was the whole point.
No, because how does he do anything later on? I guess he gets it. Who cares? We're giving too much thought. We're thinking about this more than the screenwriters did, and that's an issue with this podcast in general. So anyway, the boy Michael Caine. He gets shamed. He tries to get angry at them, and he has this really lame thing. He gets chained to the floor. The police try and get on board. Fucking what's his name? Dilzo jumps on stage. Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, just to clarify, by the way, because this is important for what's about to happen. So important for like later things that happen in the film. So the tricks they do is that Jesse Eisenberg and Isla Fisher do this trick where they put a rabbit in a box, and then they explain how they do it, and they're like, look, the rabbit's fine, it's in the box. It was like we used a mirror in the box, like classic magic tricks. And then you've got Woody Harrelson who he hypnotizes somebody and like a couple people in the crowd to say when someone says freeze, you're all going to turn into like football players, like American football players, and you're going to go after the quarterback, who's the person who says freeze. Yeah.
That's what, right. That makes sense.
And then he's like, that'll make sense later to you guys. And then, is that it? I think that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I stopped getting too intricate with it and just tried to
That's
get.
not intricate though.
That's not
like a
intricate.
plot
That's
point.
like, that's how the trick,
Yeah.
that's how they get away.
No, I know.
So it's quite important.
Yeah, I missed it. But I missed what triggered it. But basically what happens is they start rappelling up the roof on fucking like grapple hooks, getting away like, haha, you'll never catch us. And then Mark Ruffalo, Dilzo runs on stage, and then that's when the whole freeze.
Yeah, he shouts FBI freeze, and then
It triggers them
that
all to
triggers all the
tackle him.
hypnotized audience to tackle Mark Ruffalo to the
Right,
floor
yeah,
so he
so
can grab the
I think
horseman.
in my frenzy, I missed that nuance to the magic trick. Fucking okay. So the horsemen then flee, and then we have a chase scene through the streets of New Orleans, and it just happens to be Mardi Gras, because of course it is. We're in New Orleans, so it has to be Mardi
New Orleans
Gras
actually famously only exists
during Mardi Gras.
the week of Mardi Gras. Otherwise, it just doesn't. It's not a
it's
real place like Brigadoon.
Yeah, it's like he's Brigadoon, or is it Balamory? Balamory's not like that. Balamory doesn't disappear. Balamory's there forever. Christ. So Melanie Laurent doesn't shoot. Yeah, so they're chasing them through the streets, and then there's a bit when Jesse Eisenberg stands on top of a wall. And I hate this trope of people about to escape, jumping over a wall, and they stand on the thin ledge and look round. It's like, haha. It's like, don't do that.
It
gonna
just
get
had
shot.
a wee Point Break moment
Yeah,
there.
literally.
But it's
And-
just it felt justified in Point Break because he was like a daredevil.
yeah, and again, it's a chain link
also-
fence as well, and it's
yeah.
different. Yeah, and it's a good film there. Anyway, Melanie Laurent doesn't shoot Jesse Eisenberg, and I think that should have happened. I think it would have been a much better film if Jesse Eisenberg smirks and she just fucking guns him down.
Aye.
That'd have been great.
And he's dead.
And he's dead. Or, like, you know.
No more
like,
Jesse Eisenberg.
You know, he's now in hospital and we got him as like an insider or something like that. Just hurt Jesse Eisenberg for me, please, film. But they don't. So they escape. God, this is fucking stupid. They escape Mark Ruffalo because they've already switched his phone tracker that he's tracking them on earlier. So he is tracking them and he's actually tracking himself.
This is too
Sure.
It
complicated.
doesn't make any sense.
Sure.
Don't explain how either.
And it makes even worse sense when you know the twist. So, God, if anyone's keeping tallies and doesn't know the twist yet, just keep thinking about, how does that... It's shocking. So, after he gets absolutely buoyed and made into a wee lad, a wee tiny boy by his stupid ability to track people down, he immediately spirals out of control like Pappas in Point Break, and he goes to a bar and just gets fucking steaming.
It's so funny. She's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm having a drink.
I'm like, man, it's been 4 days. It's been 4 fucking days. At least Pappas had been working on it for 18 years to get to that stage.
Aye.
He's already there. Again, this doesn't make sense when you know the twist, but we'll continue. So Melanie Laurent shows up. They have a bit of a fight because she has a book on what we get the first reference to, the Eye of Horus. She's got a book on it, and he's like, you're a pretty French girl that's come from Interpol just when this big elaborate heist scam misdirection thing's going on. Maybe it's your fault. You've got this weird book. And she's like, fuck off, and like slams his head into the table. And it's like, right. And then he's like, so what's about the book? And she's like, I'm not going to talk about it till you're sober. And it's like, aye, fair enough, man. So we then cut to we do a lot of cutting back and forth. We cut to Michael Caine, Tresler, recruiting Morgan Freeman for $10 million to take down and
His
expose
last tenner.
his last 10 spot.
He's on the phone. He's got the phone tucked under his shoulder in his ear, and he's like that, trying to see how much change he's got in his pocket. Can you do it for 40 pence?
10 million, but can I pay you like in 50p installments, please? So, Morgan Freeman agrees. He's gonna get paid to expose the Horseman and help Michael Caine get revenge. So, okay. So again, how have they got money for this? Because they've not taken all his bank account. Who cares? Movie doesn't care. Rapidly along. So then Melanie Laurent gets woken up the next day because they're sharing a hotel room. Mark Ruffalo's like, yeah, sorry man, I'm hungover, but I can talk now. And she's like, right, cool. So she explains what the Eye of Horus is. Again, this is all very, why is this not getting done in one scene? And again,
why have we stretched this out over a while?
So Melanie Laurent explains that the Eye of Horus is a secret cult, and the magicians our four horsemen are trying to join it through a big initiation. The robberies, the magic, it's all an initiation. Who gives a fuck?
Why does she know this?
How does she know this? Good fucking quick. No, actually, no, because Morgan Freeman's talked about it in one of his DVD and TV shows.
Right.
Why does Morgan Freeman know about it? I thought it was top secret. I thought that they needed to be like led to this like super secret apartment and see this super secret holographic show. Like, why is this common knowledge to just random people who could buy a book about it?
Because apparently, right, we've missed. You alright, man?
I'm fine. What have we missed?
Because we've missed. This is where, like.
We're not. Are you about to say the guy?
But
the dead magician. I'm pretty sure that comes up soon.
No, we've already covered all this. This is the Eye of Horus and all this sort of stuff gets covered by Morgan Freeman's character when he initially meets the detectives. No?
No.
Maybe. I don't.
No, I think we get it here. Anyway, we'll continue on and then we'll fill in the blanks where we need to. Because, yeah. So, right. She explains this. That this is not just them robbing banks. This is them getting admitted to a secret organisation of super magicians, apparently. Okay? And this is when Mark Ruffalo sees that Jesse Eisenberg stole his phone during the interrogation, explains how he was chasing himself in a building 20 minutes ago. Sure. And, right, this is then when we cut back to the horsemen. And for the first time, we see them not in control because we now know that explains the mysterious hooded stranger that was seen, right? And we see the horsemen now freaking out about what's next for this initiation. And then this is when they're in that apartment from earlier. And this is when Franco hits out with the most obscene thing I've heard anyone in this film say so far, given everything that's happened. He goes, they're like, oh yeah, Harrison's like, you ready for this? This could go bad. We could go to jail. I don't mind it. And then he's like, and Jesse Eisenberg's like, oh, I know that's a bad thing. But we won't. That was you. That was your fault. And then Dave Franco goes, guys, I don't know about this. I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to get in trouble. I didn't think that it was going to go this far. I'm like,
you've robbed 2 banks, man.
Yeah, like you just robbed millions of dollars.
Bit late,
man.
And he's like, I don't want. We're
like,
gonna get in trouble. He's Selena Gomez in himself.
He is Selena Gomez in
He's
himself.
Selena Gomez of the Four Horsemen.
I'm out. Bye.
So you're robbing banks, guys. What the fuck? So anyway,
your brother would never do this.
So then they get this is when Mark Ruffalo and Melanie Laurent realise that where they're at that building, so they surround the place, and somehow 3 of the 4 horsemen, Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson and Isla Fisher, sneak out the back.
And just grab a taxi.
They just get a fucking taxi, sure. Meanwhile, Morgan Freeman's just watching them with his wee camera again, just smiling in his top hat.
No police apparently are around the building to catch them getting into a fucking taxi.
A yellow cab.
Because that's how
none of them can drive, I guess.
That's how FBI raids work. They just go into the building and they don't have anyone waiting outside.
There's no backup. There's no patrol. There's no lockdown of the situation.
What if there was no taxi to hail?
Oh, Morgan Freeman, can you give us a lift? He'd be like, sure.
Why didn't someone bring their fucking car, man?
Oh, God. Anyway, so then we get the most insane sequence in this film, in my opinion. The cops raid the location, okay? And they find, what's his name? Dave Franco is in the building, for some reason, just burning bits of paper.
Yeah, like, he doesn't leave with the rest of it.
Why?
But like,
I think it's like burning their plans.
Yeah,
but then
why would they write? That's what I said. Oh yeah, because that's what you do. Your super secret plans. You write them down in meticulous detail, right? What the fuck?
This is the thing as well, is that you've got this kind of headquarters. It's the same room as they got invited to when all this got set in motion. I think they're trying to say in the film later on that it was a year past. Okay, but like,
what?
You would think this is a great opportunity to maybe leave some sort of like clues, things in this sort of room that might give an idea of how they set things up. So the police come in and they start like poking around. Where have they gone? They approach a Lego reconstruction.
Oh my God, yeah, fucking. They just find
That's what Dave Franco's been up to. While the 3 of them have been planning their things and reading folks' minds, Dave's just been building the theatres out of Lego. Like a child in the waiting room of a doctor's office.
It's so bad. It's like, I genuinely think Dave Franco was like, I'll just make this myself. Oh, I've actually got one at home. Yeah, that's Dave Franco saying, you little shit. Yeah, we'll get to that. So, So then the cops raid the location, and Dave Franco, who, need to remind you guys, just quoted, "Hey guys, I don't know about this. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to go to jail," just starts straight up assaulting the cops and resisting arrest. Like, he locks one of them into a fucking waste disposal thing by his fucking blazer. He then starts battering Mark Ruffalo with like his hands or something, and he just keeps.
No one's ever done that before.
No, but like it's like sorry, He starts knocking his hands away, like playing slaps with them, and then
playing slaps.
Yeah, he then handcuffs Mark Ruffalo to the floor. Mark Ruffalo says, "You little shit," and then he does a pitch perfect impersonation of him saying, "You little shit, you're not going to get away with this. You're not going to get away with this." And then he uses that quick bit of impersonation wizardry that he's done, and somehow uses impersonation to call the cops
on his like walkie-talkie and be like, "Oh, skip flat 7, just go back to flat 8 so that you could go and batter Mark Ruffalo." Again, though, everyone else is exhibiting their own wizard powers, you know, in the way that they do, like Woody Harrelson using his mentalist powers to like deduce facts about people. Dave Franco's thing's supposed to be sleight of hand, and he's just like battering folk, like
and using
that's no magic.
Impersonation. And
mimicking,
and then it gets worse.
And shoving a wet rag in someone's mouth. Oh. He just puts a wet cloth in this guy's mouth, and the guy's like, "Ugh!" And then he kind of slightly undresses him and gets the jacket caught in the waste disposal.
Yeah.
And the guy's like this, struggling, and then he just spits out the cloth as if he's remembered that he could do that
the whole time. So, right, and then the film just goes, fuck it. And Dave Franco starts spinning metal and throwing sparks at Mark Ruffalo. And like, he's just a warlock. He is a fucking full on just going for it. And it gets worse. As he handcuffs him, he then lacerates him with playing cards, like fucking cutting his face up. He escapes through the floor and like fucking kicks. He's just kicking his ass the whole time. All this from Mr. I don't want to go to jail. What a fucking idiot, man. Like, you were maybe going to get off with it because, you know, you did fuck all else apparently. But then you're like, you know what, I'm going to assault cops. I'm going to fucking... And even given the twist, he doesn't know the twist. So he's just trying to, what? Kill Mark Ruffalo?
Also, this has just occurred to me now. Mr. I don't want to go to jail is the only one of the 4 magicians that was a criminal before this started.
Yes! You're so right. He's the one who's picking pockets at the start.
He's assaulting people.
Aye.
But anyway.
By the way, we've totally skipped over it. The reason why I think they had that shite bit of... Sorry, I'm going way back here, but I forgot to mention it. The plain dialogue that you were saying was just like a 10-minute scene, a load of shite. That's how they got fucking Michael Caine's bank details, because they were asking him about like, oh, your dog when you were younger, what was it called, or what was your mum's name, and then he was saying like, oh, my mum's name was this and my dog was called Snoodles and stuff like that, and that's how they got his bank details, because that's how they were saying. They were like, how did you get access to my bank details? And they're like, oh, it was very difficult, we need details like your mother's maiden name and your first pet, but they mentioned it in the plane, and I just realised that, and it's not very clear, and
it's also
why are they explaining that?
Why explain that but not the floating bubble stuff, or the fact that, as I say, Dave Franco is literally a warlock.
Why are they not explaining?
Of elder training, clearly from a different dimension, put through to ours to fuck up our lives.
Look, Isla Fisher's floating in a bubble. She's also making sheets fly in the air and making things disappear. And here's Dave Franco literally, like, making fire appear out of nowhere and like spraying it at Mark Ruffalo. We're not going to explain that, but we will explain in a 10-minute scene how we got Michael Caine's mother's maiden name.
We'll explain how we did that, but we won't explain why Dave Franco is
Fuck me, man.
What's his name? Fucking Danny Phantom over here. Literally. So Dave Franco then escapes, and we begin a car chase with Dave Franco and Dilzo. And who's helped by Melanie Laurent, who's been told to stay in the car, and she's like, don't tell me to stay in the car, and he's like, oh, I won't, and okay. And it's an absolutely chaotic car chase, like actual insane, like so much jail time has been accrued by Dave Franco at this point. And then he crashes the car. It looks from the way they shoot it that he breaks the world records for car flips. And then the car blows up or goes on fire, and fucking Mark Ruffalo runs towards this burning vehicle to try and rescue Dave Franco, and then the car just blows up
And
and they jump.
multiple other people run after him to tell him not to do that.
Yeah.
He's trying to get the papers out of Dave Franco's hand. He still doesn't know what they are. Like, he's like,
But
knows that.
here's the thing, not to be spoiled, but he does know what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also,
So
why is he going to cause the explosion?
Yeah.
But also,
Why does he need these papers?
And also, I'm pretty sure he. Anyway. So the explosion, apparently Dave Franco dies, quote unquote, right?
You know, when you're watching it, even if you have never seen it and don't know what this twist is, you're like, Dave Franco is not dead.
Yeah.
Right?
What did you text us?
I was like, I can't wait to see Dave Franco emerge from these flames in about 5 minutes.
Took a little bit longer. Saying what?
I believe the word you used was Alakazam.
Alakazam. Woo! Yeah. Oh my god. So again, I just want to top this off with Dave Franco said he didn't want to get into trouble. And he's just got involved in some fucking Fast and the Furious chase
Aye,
through the
within,
streets
like,
of New
10
York
minutes.
City.
Within 10 minutes, he's went from the wee guy's brother who you had to invite to
To Master Warlock of the Seven Dimensions, fucking destroying, giving Vin Diesel a run for his money.
and supposedly deed.
Supposedly dead. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I guess you really didn't want to get in trouble and go to jail. Anyway, so he went back to his fucking elder god. So, right, we then see their next target as found out by Dilzo from Dave Franco's burning hand. And it's a billionaire's vault. Okay.
Elcor?
Sure.
Who's this guy?
Who
He
is
just
this
shows
guy?
up and he's like, I'm taking over this operation.
Oh, no,
now."
right. Is that his bank? No, right.
Yeah, it's his bank.
It's not his bank.
It is his bank,
What?
I think. I'm pretty
Right.
sure. Isn't it his bank? This
I
guy
don't
who shows up and is like, I'm taking over.
Right. So just to clarify, they're going to rob a billionaire's vault this time, or someone, and then we get a new guy who shows up. Who, as I said, I've got here. It's unclear who he is. Who cares? And he's like, abracadabra, I'm in charge now. And it's like, fucking hell.
Also, why has a billionaire got all of his cash in one vault?
Why?
Why is it physically in a vault that can be transported?
Yeah. Why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
Online banking, man. Get with RBS, man. They'll help you out. They've had some nuts.
Fucking Bank of Scotland, man.
A wee bit of difficulty, but you know, RBS, Royal Bank of Scotland, they're really good at digital transfers now, and I feel like that would have saved them all. The whole plot of this third act. Anyway, okay, right, page 14. Okay, so Dilzo gets to the safe location, and they're like, right, so they go to go and get the safe, and then they get there, and the safe isn't there. What? And then it turns out his colleague, played by Common, inexplicably, has been hypnotized to give the safe away to a van driven by the Horseman. But it's actually a double bluff, maybe? And the cops catch the safe and they're like, oh, actually, no, keep going with this because they think it's been stolen, so we'll see who they really are and we'll track it down, right?
Yep.
Okay. Cut to avid YouTube streamer Jesse Eisenberg and co. have revealed via YouTube that they're doing a new show at the 5 Points New York. And it's like, when was this posted? 20 minutes ago. Oh, so what, when Dave Franco was in his insane car chase, they were just making a wee fucking YouTube video somewhere.
But also, like, the FBI agents whose whole, like, the entire team of people whose job it is to track these people down and find out what to do, like, or how to get them. They're just like, this guy walks up and he's like, this was posted 20 minutes ago. I was like, it was posted 20 minutes ago and you're just finding out about it now. The whole point of you is to know what they're up to, and it's been online for 20 minutes.
Weren't you just giving it the Billy Big Balls about, oh, we've got them tracked down, we'll see everything they do.
They have literally posted a video to YouTube 20 minutes ago and you've had no idea.
Stupid.
Absolute nonsense.
Also,
So,
I'm pretty sure they've made it clear at this point. They're like not trying to be secretive anymore. They're just like, I put it up on whatever you want, man. Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Like, that's what they do at Michael Caine's show when they take all his money. So I'm assuming from that this video that they've put up is going to be put on a lot of platforms. I don't think they've only put it on YouTube.
Trying to get the word out. They're actually trying to reach out to people and share information. And the FBI team, whose whole job it is to know
gather
what's going
information.
on, doesn't see it for 20 minutes.
20 fucking minutes. How many people are assigned to this case? A man has died
They're literally
on a road.
Whatever the fucking
Billions-
Dave Franco's name is.
Millions of dollars have been stolen.
But like
international crime as well. It's not just the United States. The Interpol are here. You got to show that you're competent. Mark Ruffalo's in charge.
And only Mark Ruffalo.
Apparently. Well, then that's why this new guy shows up with his abracadabra, I'm in charge.
But then their YouTube video was like basically just like doing the whole say his name thing about wee Dave that died.
They started a tribute to Dave Franco. It's like, okay.
It's like anytime that you think about magic, think about his face. It's like, what is happening?
Oh,
like,
God.
what is?
Also, they're acting like at this point, Mark Ruffalo killed Dave Franco, and he didn't. Dave Franco
tried to kill Mark Ruffalo.
He tried to kill Mark Ruffalo, but then he also killed himself. It's not like Mark Ruffalo, like, you know,
shot his tires or something.
Or you know, like tried to kind of hit his car and then he'd crash into something. He purposefully swerves into a part of the road that flips his car. He does it on purpose. He kills himself.
Yeah. Quote,
Allegedly.
So anyway, right, let me just continue. This one I'm going to bring up the thing that we didn't mention. Maybe it got mentioned earlier. You might have been right. I got confused. This film was a lot. So Delzo and the FBI and Melanie Laurent follow the truck and they spy. They see it's outside somewhere, it's in the dark, and they spy a woman going up to it. So they immediately arrest her. And it turns out she's part of Morgan Freeman's TV show, and they're filming a new episode to expose the Horsemen and to make fun of the FBI. And this is when immediately we see Morgan Freeman's there with his hat going, what's going on? And then fucking Dilzo starts accusing him of being the fifth horseman. And he's like, yeah, why would you be here? Why else would you be here? What other significant blah, blah, blah. And then this is when, Morgan Freeman's like, this is the site where my first ever big investigation special happened. What was the guy's name? Lionel
Shrike.
Lionel Shrike. So a little bit of backstory on Lionel Shrike. It gets taught. The issue with this backstory with Lionel Shrike is it gets teased about 8 different times very half-heartedly throughout the film. So like, is that a thing?
Also, this is why I know that it came up way before then.
Yeah.
Is because it gets brought up so many times, and from the second they're like, what about that mysterious magician who died in a mysterious way? Remember him?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, this is going to be
important.
Aye.
Yeah,
And it's just straight away, not even important, but you're like, the film's going to be about this, isn't it?
No, totally.
There's going to be some mad reveal that has something to do with this guy, Lionel Shrike, the magician, who, the backstory to this basically is that he was a magician and Morgan Freeman's character was unsuccessful in trying to join this secret...
No, that's not actually what happened. That's just I don't think there's any...
Basically, Morgan Freeman decides that he's going to make his job exposing magicians, and he exposes this guy. And then, I guess... as a result of that, as a consequence of having his magic tricks explained.
Yeah, his integrity as a mage in question. He then tries to do a magic trick, which involves him going in a safe and sinking himself to the bottom of the ocean, or the bottom of the river, to escape, but then he drowns.
Because he gets stuck in the safe.
So this is kind of like a bit of a...
But his body is never recovered.
Yeah, all this stuff. And it's kind of like you got to work, Morgan Freeman, be careful what you do because it has results. It has consequences.
Mate, fucking Daddius didn't make you get in the safe.
Right. Well, we're going to get to that in a minute because this is so terribly told that it's getting teased at so many different little threads. But anyway, this is when... he kind of brings that clear, and then Mark Ruffalo's like still trying to be like, you're the fifth horseman. So then Morgan Freeman reverses him and says, but your safe is fake, and then reveals that the horseman duped them and Freeman has recorded them being fooled, because it turns out that safe that they think is the safe of the truck is actually full of balloons. Oh, cookie, woo.
Again, who had the time to blow up? Like, it's a safe that is literally, as soon as they open it, like balloons start floating out. Balloon animals.
Full of balloon animals.
Packed full of balloon animals. And once again, I'm like, which one of them spent
Dave.
Dave
That's why he was
in the corner with his Lego for literal weeks. Weeks it would have taken to... He would have started, like, the ones that he'd done, like, last Thursday would start to deflate. He'd have to start all over again. He has been making these balloon animals for the last...
He's been making the balloon animals. He's been making his wee Lego figurine set, and he's been setting fire to their meticulous plans. I like the idea as well that they're just writing out these meticulous plans and then being like, can't have this anymore.
That was great. Really detailed. Remember that,
Dave.
Barnett. Dave. Okay.
Who has the time to do all this?
Yeah. Also, as I found out from trying to hire a magician in clowns last night, you have to pay,
What a sentence.
What a sentence. You have to pay extra for balloon animal crafts. So yeah, that's
So it wouldn't have been cost effective either.
yeah.
No.
Again, terrible for the taxpayers' money. Our current theme. So anyway, turns out the FBI have been duped, because of course they have. Mark Ruffalo turns around and Morgan Freeman says, please do that same incredulous look of befuddlement again for the camera. And like fucking Smarmalade just kind of gets one up.
Did you call him Smarmalade?
No, but he is Smarmalade. So this is when we then cut to Dilzo and Melanie Laurent decide to trust one another. Okay, good, class. And they decide to sneak into the third act show. Drop my pages. Like this fucking script. So a third act show, and where's their big show going to be? So the first one's been in a big event arena in Las Vegas. The second one's been at the Savoy in New Orleans during Mardi Gras. A lot of people. What was the third one? An old building in Queens.
It's in New York, to be fair. But why not Times Square or something like that? Why not Times
They
Square?
eventually go to Times Square.
Because they need the entire
did they go to
surface area of an abandoned parking garage to turn into like
A light show.
But it's not even a light show. Like the whole building is screens,
Yeah.
which like
Again, they would have needed so many horsemen in
Well, that's
order
what I was
to.
going to say. Like, surely at this point, you would be like, right, these guys are criminals. They've caused a car crash. They've tried to kill two of our cops. They've stolen millions. Oh, they're in this location? Can we just cut the grid to that location? It's an abandoned building. Let's cut the grid. Yeah, let's just cut that down. Oh, okay, we
Aye,
can't do
but-
that. Who's powering this? What electricians union? Okay, let's just get them all fucking arrested. Do you know what I mean? There's like no way they'd be able to fucking do this.
Aye, but Jesse Heisenberg slipped them a 50, man.
You're right. I forgot the power of a 50.
crisp 50.
A crisp 50 from Jesse Eisenberg will do anything for you,
Which,
apparently.
by the way, is apparently like not the mind control guy.
Oh, God. Why is he not doing it? Anyway. So, third act show in this old building with the inexplicable lights. I've used the word inexplicable so many times in this.
This film is inexplicable.
But it is. So, we get some grand wanky speeches of, we're giving back, Robin Hood, you've all been so wronged by the system and we're going to give back to you.
Which is not about that for them. They just want to get in this wee magic club.
Yeah.
No, they're just
This wee lame
they're just
magic
gaslighting
club.
everyone. They're being very exploitive, and basically they're saying all this as they're like hiding away. We then cut as they start saying this and everyone's gathering like so excited for this big reveal. All the FBI and all that are coming in. We then cut to them like having, as we mentioned earlier, this really shite, lame, boring, nothing intimate moment in like the slowest lift in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, and
slowly lifting them up this old building that everyone's should be raiding. And they're just like, what? Oh, I don't even
It's
care.
an intimate moment where they are literally standing as far apart as they possibly could be standing from each other.
And it's like, hey.
They've each
In a
taken a
lift.
corner of the lift and they're like kind of making a half-hearted attempt at bringing together some sort of thing about. I'm pretty sure at the end the hooded figure is like, but what really the magic really was, the new first rule of magic is it was all about you guys being solo acts who came together as a team. And I guess they felt they had to throw this in to
This
justify
scene.
that's what the
That
film
was
was about.
definitely a pickup shot,
even
right?
though one of them was missing at the time and isn't involved in this teamwork moment.
It's clearly a pickup shot that they just went, we need to try and explain that bullshit. But it also just highlights the like, so did anyone get character development? A wee bit?
Okay.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Franco was off school that day, so he gets no character development.
No, he got his character development where he got promoted from making Legos to killing cops.
No. His character development was, I am a warlock.
His character development was he went from being deed to no deed.
We'll get there. That's coming up. So,
Spoilers.
fuck off. Who cares? So, as I say, they have this nothing conversation, and then the FBI show up and they get immediately buoyed because they see them rising from the floor and they're like, get them! So, We then get the FBI get absolutely buoyed when they start rising from the ground for the big act, and this really lame director, Abracadabra, I'm in charge, says, get them, seize them, and they tackle them, and of course it's not them, it's a bunch of dummies, and everyone's laughing, ha ha ha. And then we see the three horsemen, because there's not 4 anymore. Is there 5? Is there 20? Is there 300? Whatever. The three horsemen are actually now in their final form of sorcery school, and they've actually taken on the form of light, and they're able to bounce around the room, the roofs. We're over here, we're over there. They've fully transcended their physical frame by making a deal with this Eye of Horus pact that's clearly bestows transcendental gifts. It's almost like, we've been giving you these gifts since you were a young boy, and now you are going to join us, and you just need to become a it's fucking stupid. They can't physically be doing this. How are they doing this? They're mages.
They are magic. They are literally magic.
Yeah, and then they're bouncing around the roofs. I was like, they're over there, oh my god. And then it ends with them running, leaping off the building, and bursting into the stolen money that they took from this billionaire's vault. And this is also when, which is again very funny given the twist, Mark Wahlberg starts shooting at them. Mark Wahlberg?
Where did Mark Wahlberg
Mark
come
Ruffalo.
from?
Mark Ruffalo starts shooting at them. Mark Wahlberg.
I would love if Marky Mark just showed up out of nowhere right now. He's in it too. Like,
much better film.
By the way, see the other tricks that they've done so far. They've been very kind of audience interaction.
They've actually been tricks.
Yeah, and like, you know, you can actually see what's happening so far. But this one is done on the top of a building, and there's a small collection of people on the top of the building watching this, but there's a huge collection of people at the bottom of the building who won't be seeing a fucking thing that's going on.
Yeah.
And also, there's only 3 of them, right? And they all burst into money, and it just doesn't look like that much money.
And also it gets worse.
And it gets like cascaded into this like massive crowd of people. And I feel like everybody's grabbed like a 20 each, and they're trying to make out like they're Robin Hood.
Everyone grabbed a 50 each.
You know that?
No, I'm just saying Jesse Eisenberg's 50. No, it's even worse than that. It's actually, what, sorry?
They were all ones.
Yeah, they're all fucking ones. No, it's actually even worse than that. So they leap through the air.
It's when you used to go to the freshers fair in the first week of uni, because it's like, oh, free Domino's pizza, and you get like half a slice.
A bite,
it's like a toenail width
yeah, like
slice of pizza.
Yeah,
Don't ever describe anything as a toenail's width ever again.
This is a toenail
This
slice.
bogging pizza that's been sitting there like all day.
I ate them
Everyone's
all.
like, I know you would.
I
You got
loved
like
it.
one each, and everyone had to like fight over it, and you had to pretty much sign up to like a lifetime's worth of texts from Domino's for your tiny
yeah.
scrap of pizza.
I still get those
Margarita.
texts.
Of course you do. I know you do.
I often talk about them. Anyway, I might get Domino's tonight. No, I'm going to get Domino's tomorrow because I get paid tomorrow. Anyway, distracted. So yeah, it's even worse. The fuck was that? So he's staring at me with fear.
Oh, you don't often catch that.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so as I say, turned into money going to everyone. Everyone's getting like fucking a 50, 20, $1 each. But even worse, oh no, we get revealed that the money is not actually real because it's got their fucking faces on it.
I forgot that.
Yeah, right. But I don't think they have Dave Franco's face on it because they, like the movie, forgot that he was important. But yeah.
No,
It's
he's
almost
dead.
yeah.
Now he's dead, he doesn't get money, I
Apparently.
guess. Because
Yeah.
that's how it works. You
Like, I
don't
could
put
be
dead
wrong
people
there.
on money.
Yeah. That's best joke of the episode. Love that. Okay, we're getting there. Almost done. So, Melanie and Dilzo immediately just turn to each other and go, guess it's over now.
Yeah, they've just given up. They're like,
Yeah.
well, that was our last trick. We will never, ever see them again.
Yeah.
I said this morning, I was like, oh yeah, now that they've stolen more money, we should just stop.
Yeah, she's like,
I think they said they were going to be finished after this, so let's just assume that they're going to lead
Oh, they're gone.
law-abiding lives in quiet. I guess this is done.
They really are magic. They have disappeared and they're never coming back. So I'm not even
Even
going
better.
to try.
I don't know about you, but I'm satisfied with the
I'm gonna
conclusion of this.
I'm gonna go get it surfing now, I guess.
yeah, they're even better. They've apparently wiped everyone's minds to be like, oh well, who gives a fuck? Yeah, that's done. But no, like, what's her name? She's like saying goodbye. And it's like, man, they're probably just in a cab down the street, stuck in
Aye.
traffic, man, given everything we've seen so far. Also, It's also, I guess, kind of funny. It's like, yeah, we're really shit at being cops, man. We're done. Do you know what I mean? They're very, very self-aware. But that's when Dilzo, Mark Ruffalo, realises that it's fake money. So he's like, wait now, what's going on? Where's the real money? And then we cut to Morgan Freeman, just walking to his car on his own.
He's also given up.
He's also given up. He's at home time. And then suddenly his car pops open and it's filled with the billionaire's stolen money. So he is being framed for the crime.
I don't understand why he gets arrested for this though.
Oh yeah,
like I know it's in his car, but it is like comically in his car. He can't get in the car because there's so much money in this car, and they're like, "Yeah, you must be trying to steal this," and he's like, "Guys,
clearly no.
Come on."
You know what this might have something to do with? Those three magicians that
just jumped off the building
and have mind control powers and telekinesis and have just literally vanished into dollar bills.
And have already exhibited that they can fake teleportation.
Yeah, do you remember that sorcerer you fought? Aye, might be something to do with that.
Can I have a lawyer?
Yeah, so then, right, speaking of can I have a lawyer?
Free Daddiest, man.
Free Daddiest, man. Fucking hell, so he gets arrested.
Daddiest is literally just a bit lame. He's just kind of like not cool for just giving away what magic tricks are. But like, do you know what? Free Daddiest. Let him speak on this one. I want to see that TV show he's making.
Justice for Daddiest, man.
I would love to know how any of this was possible.
None of it was. Oh, again, unless they're magicians. Oh no, sorry. Unless they are wizards, not magicians. Oh my god, they've got me doing it. They've now you see me. Oh, okay, calming down. Okay, calming down. So,
almost there.
So, while arrested, Morgan Freeman is still in his clothes and he turns around and he goes, you know, I've had plenty of time to think this through. And I'm like, no, man, you've not. It's been 20 minutes. You're literally still dressed like you were when you got arrested. You've not had a lawyer. You're still in the holding cell. And yeah, it's like less than half a day. What are you talking about? Anyway, Dylan listens to him, he sends everyone away. So Dilzo, Mark Ruffalo sends everyone away and they start talking. So Morgan Freeman starts going into, he starts explaining that, oh, clearly Dave Franco's alive. And then we get a flashback, because this becomes canon, we get a flashback of them apparently. So we at first were led to suspect, oh, they did a Fast and the Furious getaway. Oh no, it's even worse than that. They did a Fast and the Furious bait and switch getaway, which is actually even more fucking complicated than if they'd, Dave Franco had just died there. So apparently they've got a similar car to the car that he stole.
It's an FBI standard issue vehicle, which apparently they have access to two of.
Somehow, sure. Michael Caine's boys are hard at work, even though he's against them at that point. Sure. They then switch that during a chase that they clearly can't have planned out. They switched that car around with a fake body of Dave Franco in it and the files that will lead, and then
fake body, not a fake body, a real body, an actual corpse.
Yeah, because
they showed from the morgue.
Yeah, they showed Dave Franco thieving a body from the morgue.
Sorry, Dave
because
Franco,
he's good at thieving.
Sorry, Dave Franco, Mr. I don't want to get in trouble, guys. I don't want to go to jail.
That's him having a wee jolly in the morgue. He's just like joyriding this. What are they called? A trolley?
Yeah, like a gurney.
Is that what we go on and we die? A trolley?
Aye.
A gurney.
Well, he's right. A gurney. He's just like literally like wee on this gurney, like chuckling away.
Yeah, and then he gets annoyed when the dead guy's arm falls out with the tag. He's like, oh, so like, what the fuck is wrong
also
with you?
A dead guy who looks identical to Dave Franco, apparently, because we saw him in the car.
By this point, just to kind of clarify, we have, I imagine, collectively agreed that Dave Franco is Rogues Gallery.
Yeah, 100%.
Because he has gotten, because everyone else is just like bank robbed things. He has been involved in bank robbing, grave robbing, assaulting a cop, almost putting him into, what did you call it? An incinerator?
An incinerator.
Which is another word for a waste disposal, apparently, that we had at the start of this.
Dangerous driving, faking his own death.
Sorry, not dangerous driving, Fast and Furious driving, and heisting.
Just so much. And he was the only criminal pre-Horseman.
And a warlock. Don't forget the warlock bit.
Rogue.
No, well, I'm
You, okay.
I am so sneezy.
So I might go for another Rogues Gallery. So again, for any new listeners, a really fun time to jump in for the first time. Rogues Gallery is where we pick a basically a villain from the piece that isn't really a villain, but it's like the one with the best implied narrative or the weirdest fucking...
Someone who's just a wee bit out of place
Someone that's
in the
infamous
plot.
and notorious and a bit out of place. So, right. Meanwhile, Morgan Freeman's explained how Dave Franco's alive and did this Fast and the Furious bullshit because they're elder magicians. Cool. Dylan is like, but wait, there's more. To quote Scream. Badly. And he starts basically being like, well, I think it all comes back to this Lionel Shrike, because, this is blah, 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 blah. He starts going into that, and Morgan Freeman's like, what? How? Oh, this is crazy. Who's behind this? And then Dylan's like, no, you got to tell me who's behind this. And he goes, oh, I don't know. And then Dylan's like, I know who it is. It's the eye. It's the eye. The grand cabal. They're behind it all. And then Morgan Freeman's like, they're not fucking real, man. Have you not been listening and watching my TV shows? That's the fucking point. They're not real. So he's like, so who is it? Who is responsible? Who is it?
Who's the fifth horseman?
Who's the fifth horseman? And then Morgan Freeman's like, I don't know, some eccentric, someone. He goes, don't give me a name, don't give me a profile, give me a name. He's like, oh, I don't know, he's been ahead of me this whole time. He's been ahead of the FBI more so. It's almost like he's on the end. It's almost like he's on the inside. And then this is our bit of fucking bullshit. He turns around to Mark Ruffalo. He turns around to Mark Ruffalo, who has been in his cell the whole time, an actual holding cell. And
Locked in by the guards.
By the guards who've left. And we then see that Mark Ruffalo is inexplicably teleported out of this cell.
Why would the guard lock?
He asked him to.
That's not protocol. Yeah, again. So this is when we get the big twist reveal, which just blows everything on its head and makes everything make even less sense than it already did.
I would love to explain this reveal.
Go for it.
So, because this is how I viewed it. So Mark Ruffalo has been the fifth horseman, the guy who hired them the entire time, the guy who gave out the tarot cards. And instead of, as they have been doing, because I'll give this film its due, it doesn't explain all the tricks, but it does go into detail how it explains a fair amount of them, right? And it'll be like, this is how we did it, and this is how Dave Franco's actually alive, and blah, 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 blah. Like, they explain, because you didn't explain it there, that the way that they made the fucking safe disappear is that they used like a kind of like a fake room, kind of like they do with the fake box with a rabbit. That's why that was important at some point. Whatever, who fucking cares?
So there's also that mirror happening in the fucking fight scene with the warlock. Anyway, there's a lot of mirror stuff that I didn't talk about. So
they're like, oh, Mark Ruffalo is actually behind it all this whole time, and instead of explaining it like they have with all the other tricks, they're like, here's Mark Ruffalo in a hood in New Orleans, here's Mark Ruffalo in a hood in New York, here's Mark Ruffalo in a hood in Las Vegas. See, he was behind it the whole time, and you're like, reverse
shot of everything, and it's just Mark Ruffalo like
giving the worst smile I've ever seen in my life.
I was watching this and I was like, why does this feel hauntingly familiar? Why do I feel so angry at this film so quickly? And why do I feel like I've already been ripped off in this specific way before? And it's because I used to watch Pretty Little Liars when I was a teenager.
Oh my
Which is a film about a random person in a black hood showing up, pulling off insanely elaborate schemes that we're led to believe are orchestrated by one high school girl, which involves things like trapping people in a dollhouse recreation of an entire house and like monitoring them and like all this sort of stuff. And it's like the elaborate schemes that must have cost so much money and all this sort of stuff, and it's just the explanation is so cheap. At the end of every season they pick a new person to be the person who's behind it all, and they would just pick the person that you would least expect, and they didn't care about explaining it. Are you suggesting
that Mark Ruffalo is A?
Mark Ruffalo is A. This film came out way after. The first episode of Pretty Little Liars was in 2009. They had done this entire shtick several times before this film came out, and there was a book series out before the television. This film is just a rip-off of Pretty Little Liars. And that's why I was so instantly angry at it, because I was like, I have been burned before in this exact way.
That is the hot take, though.
For years I watched it. I just knew every single season I was going to be fucking blown up with the same
you're always like, oh, but like maybe they'll pull it out of the bag this time and you'll actually be like, oh, that's an interesting twist. It never was. No. It was always just like, it was my evil twin the entire time.
This shot reveal of him being like in a black hood looking over a scene we've seen previously. I'm like, this is the exact way that they do that on that TV show.
So yeah, hot take. Now you see me as part of the Pretty Little Liars expanded universe.
Mark Ruffalo is A.
Mark Ruffalo is he's not A. He's
Yeah.
So because of how lame, ridiculous, stupid, terrible, and as I say, if you've been paying attention to this plot, try and make it make sense. That reveal makes it make even less sense.
Yeah.
And for me, that's why I would probably nominate him for my Rogues Gallery, because when you consider all his fucking actions and the fact that it's all like some sort of orchestrated bit.
See, yes, but I just think he didn't do enough.
No.
See if they were like, here's the reveal, here's the crazy way that Mark Ruffalo actually pulled all this off, but
That's
they don't.
why I like it.
He just showed up in a hood. That's no roguish to me. That's
It is.
That's why he's rather than
No, you might be right. But anyway, we're almost finished. So then we get the reveal that Dave Franco is actually alive. Obviously, we've seen how that's been done.
I didn't take Rogues Gallery off the fire warlock, please. He did so much.
But yeah, we get this ridiculous reveal where he's kind of seen through the thing and he's like, you.
Yeah, you. Yeah, he's whispering, he's doing lame stuff. This is Mark Ruffalo. But, or are you talking about Dave Franco?
Mark Ruffalo.
Wait. So let me just quickly. We then see that the four horsemen now, because Dave's been reunited with them, have all been led to Central Park, and this is when we get. I thought was the funniest line in the film.
Wait, no, I wasn't done.
What do you mean?
So he says to Morgan Freeman, like, I've been dying to see you behind bars.
Yeah, it jumps back and forth between this.
Oh, okay.
So, like, trust me. So,
you've already missed a huge part that's going to get referenced here. So,
you know what, it's fine. We can tie it all in. Dave Franco, fucking Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, and Isla Fisher are all in Central Park, and then Woody Harrelson hits it with the funniest line. Wouldn't it be really funny if all this was just an elaborate way to get us mugged in a park? Which I thought was very funny, and also was like, that should have been the reveal. Mark Ruffalo's just there with a knife going, empty your pockets, lads. Give us your wallet, give us your laptop.
Give us your 50, Eisenberg.
Give us your 50s.
It kind of is.
Well, basically. So that gets revealed, and then they go, what are we looking for? And they turn around and they see there's been a... What's the word for it? There has been a memorial to this
Lionel Shrike.
Lionel Shrike.
So Lionel Shrike did this trick when he was younger, where he basically got this guy. He did like a kind of trick with him when he was like literally 8 or something, and he got him to sign this card, and then he buried it in the ground with a tree, and then 18 years later he did a trick on the exact same guy in the exact same location, and then like axed into the tree and went, is this your card? And the way that he did that was by patience, and they're like, oh, look at this, if you look back into the future rather than looking at the meticulous details, you'll see that he was planning that trick for 18 years, and that's how it had his signature on it and stuff like that.
The first rule of magic.
Which is the first rule of magic. The fucking 90th first rule of magic.
Rules of magic.
And that is what the memorial is. It is a piece of this tree that has got this random bystander signed card that Shrike did the trick on, that's sitting in Central Park for some reason.
Been defaced. Yeah, no, like I did kind of miss some of that. I really tried to get this plot together. But yeah, as that happens, we then cut back to Mark Ruffalo, still revealing himself to Morgan Freeman. So Morgan Freeman's like, "Why me? Why would you target me? Who are you? What is this?" And he reveals, he goes, "What do you want from me?" He goes, "I want you to rot in jail. I want you to rot in jail for everything you've done." And he makes a little tangential reference to Lionel, but he doesn't reveal it. He leaves Morgan Freeman there going, Dylan, explain it to me. Locked in his cell that he'll definitely get out of tomorrow when they go, well, you didn't steal that money, clearly. But anyway, for the sake of the film and the emotional intelligence of the film, that's what they do. So then we cut back to Central Park and we hear a merry-go-round begin to play. Not even that music we wish it was. And we were just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And then the four horsemen, Jesse Eisenberg, Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, Isla Fisher, Dave Franco, all walk over towards this merry-go-round that's going round, and Mark Ruffalo's like, hey, I'm the fifth horseman.
Is this after they've magically morphed their tarot cards together? Do you mind that bit where they all lift up their tarot cards?
That's what triggers the
merry-go-round. Yeah,
it also teleports Mark Ruffalo there apparently.
They all lift their like individual like tarot cards that they received at the beginning of the film.
Cards, just playing cards.
And then they just kind of float together and then merge together, and that turns the merry-go-round.
Yeah, they float together. I was like, okay,
for why?
Any doubt that they were. That they
warlocks,
were not warlocks.
Wizards.
Yeah, all that. You've heard my spiel. Any evidence is that they are.
Mm-hmm. Going off of, I guess, the film's premise that magic isn't real and that still magicians' magic tricks, does that mean that Mark Ruffalo was just like crouching in the bushes all night, like waiting for them to show up with these stupid magic cards?
Yeah.
And it's just like,
what if one
dancing out at the right time, like whenever they fuse together.
What if one of them didn't bring it? What happened to you? They forgot.
Like, man, I left in my sweater. I left it in the car.
I left it in the fucking burning car.
Oh, you're not getting into the guild, mate. No. Oh, bye.
Another night, pal.
Another night, buddy. Another night. And it's like Mark Ruffalo's there like, oh yeah, you're initiated, well done. The whole central premise of this was to get 4 single act magicians to be one big group, and now you're invited into the eye. Welcome to the eye. And we're like, okay, what's the eye going to be? He goes, join me on the merry-go-round.
The way that this is shot, there's like a sort of glow over the camera. It's like a twinkly light. They sort of like track him as the merry-go-round goes in the opposite direction, and it is like literally like, this is Willy Wonka. Like, that is the way that he becomes this weird kind of like magical being, and they're just like looking at him in wonderment, and he steps on the carousel, which I guess is like meant, you would think it's like going to reveal some sort of secret room or something where there would be like a whole host of magicians there. They don't get any further than this carousel.
Yeah.
No. They like jump over
that
a barrier.
Is the eye,
they hold
guess.
hands.
And
they jump on the carousel, and they all look and smile at Mark Ruffalo as he is like just having this kind of like come with me moment. He's like standing like spreading his arms out like, wow, look at this. And then we don't get any more than that. And I'm like, they got to the end of this film and they went,
what's the eye?
Ooh. Okay, so it's a group of the most hallowed magicians of all time. Better than the 4 most famous magicians in the world that have just robbed all these banks and done this amazing thing and faked their own deaths. Yeah, but just ones that no one knows about. Okay. And what do they do in this club? What are they going to do that's more impressive than the actual floating, magic, death-faking, bank-robbing? Like, how can being a part of the eye be more impressive than anything that
being
they've
in
just
the
done?
public eye? I know.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And also, look, I get it. At this point, you want to leave some sort of reveal for what it's going to be next, and they're probably not fully thought out what the eye is. But at least give us something.
Aye.
Maybe a door opening.
Yeah. A door opening to, and then they all go, and then that's it. But
Or
no.
they descend some stairs.
Yeah.
No, we just leave them on this carousel. And I was just funny. I was
And
like,
that's
it would
it.
be so funny if they were like, man, is anything going to happen? We've been standing here for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, and then Mark Ruffalo can be like, do the magic people not know what's happening? Oh, come on, magic man, you can show me, you can work it out. Oh. Nah, guys, jokes. It's a fucking, nah, see you later. Hey, can I get 50 for a cab, please? Do you know what I mean? That's what it's like. And it's definitely what in my head has happened right afterwards. I just love the idea that Mark was like, did the magic man get confused? Oh, cookie, crazy, and you can't work this one out. Oh, the eye. And that's basically how the film ends. Well, no. We have one last bit of bullshit to deal with.
Please. Can I?
Do you want to?
Yes.
Do you want to go through all of it?
Yes.
Go for it. Right, this is the final scene of the film, folks. Get ready for it to be fucking really funny.
So, on the magic bridge with the lock thing that...
In Paris.
Okay,
In Paris.
off the bad start. What? Oh, right. Yeah, sorry.
So, in Paris, on the magic bridge with this lock and key thing that like every European city has, what's her face?
Melanie Laurent.
Melanie Laurent is sitting looking contemplative, and Mark Ruffalo walks up and he's like, it was all connected. And she's like, aye. Like,
Yeah, man.
yeah, probably. Like, okay. And he starts to explain that the 3 banks that were robbed, or the 3 institutions that were all taken money from, were all connected in some way to this kind of central character that she suspected was behind the 5th horseman. So the first company is the bank, which we're not paying out the insurance.
Yep.
Same, I guess.
What
for,
are you talking about? You're talking about with specifically
No,
to...
the Parisian bank was something else. I can't remember
who
what.
cares? Right, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. The first 2 plot things are like something to do with not paying out insurance money for this guy Lionel Shrike who died. It's all connected to Lionel Shrike. Surprise, surprise.
This is the magician that drowned.
Yeah.
Drowned in the box.
Drowned in the box after getting exposed by Morgan Freeman. Just to clarify.
So it's all connected to Lionel Shrike. And he's like, and even the last company, or sorry, she goes, and Elkhorn, what's the connection to Shrike there?
Who's the guy, the billionaire with the safe at the end?
Yes. Elkhorn's the last of the 3. So what's the connection to Shrike? Elkhorn started as a safe manufacturer. They used cheap steel.
Yeah, that's what Mark Ruffalo says.
Which is what is delivered with like the most like intense, as if this is a problem that we often face in the world. As if one of the most depraved things that you can do as an institution is to use cheap steel. And she looks at him like absolutely like devastated. She's like, oh, that's terrible. And he goes,
it was Glasgow steel. Fucking Glasgow steel.
So
Sorry,
the
guys.
steel warped and he couldn't get out the
So he
safe
goes on to
because that's what
explain-
safes are for. Getting into and just sinking yourself to the bottom of a river.
yes. So then she's like, so he's your dad, right? Like, aye, of course.
Aye,
that was clearly the
absolutely.
point of all
Shout
of this.
out to his family.
Fuck. Shout out to his family. You got me. I was actually going to do it there as well. I think I've written it down. That's the last thing I've written down is shout out to his family.
But she goes, so you're his son, right? And then he goes, yeah. And then it pans to this newspaper article, which is massive headlines. Sad tale of his orphan son. That's the headline. Sad tale of his orphan son.
And it's like
and it's a picture of him, like a wee boy. This like wee boy who's literally just like looking sad, as if they got him to pose looking sad for this picture. And I was like, this is just insane. Like, this is mad because cheap steel, like, so basically this guy's plan was to enact revenge on the people who he believes caused his dad's death. So the life insurance people who didn't pay out, fair enough. Morgan Freeman, because he decided his job was going to be to expose people's magic tricks, and apparently that's the reason that his dad got in a safe and threw himself in a river. And the company that manufactured a safe for using cheap steel, and he spent his whole life, I guess, like
Going
putting
to
this plan
fucking
together.
police school, getting
In the
fucking
FBI.
promoted to the FBI.
Joining the eye.
Magic Eye, becoming like the world's most talented magician, making the connections with these 4
In
magicians and
secret.
orchestrating a plan for them to enact for literally years it would take to put this together, because he was trying to get back at a safe company who used steel that was not fit for locking yourself in, as if like maybe your dad just wasn't that good a fucking magician, man. Have you ever thought about
Do
that?
you ever think that your dad maybe should have just thrown himself into a river in a safe?
Do you think he maybe should have fucking tested it before he tried it? You know?
Aye, come on, kick. Oh, that's Glasgow steel. Don't use that.
I think Mark Ruffalo just wanted to get out of child support payments, so he just disappeared himself in a safe.
Do you mean
Mark Ruffalo's dad.
Aye.
his dad?
So then they kiss, I guess. The
So that's them
Interpol
together.
agent and not the FBI, who also, by the way, sort of denounces. He has a Johnny Utah moment as he walks away from Morgan Freeman in the cell. He just loosens his tie slightly, and it's like,
Who are you?
Yeah, and then
oh, I
as
never saw
well,
him like this.
he's like to Melanie Laurent, he's like, so you're, in the police. I've basically just explained to you that I'm behind all of this. I'm behind all the bank robberies. I give them the instructions. I've put Morgan Freeman in jail wrongfully. So you should probably just to tell on me, basically, gas on me.
The logical thing to do would be to turn me in.
And then she's like, yeah, but I've always been one for not paying attention to details and just like skimming over things that don't really matter. And he's like,
you know how I feel about logic.
yeah.
Why are you a cop? Why are you an Interpol agent? What the fuck? Get out of that line of work. She clearly does. I wonder if she's in the sequel. There's a fucking sequel.
So yeah, and she's like, yeah, I'm not going to grass you in because I like magic. Your dad was kind of cool. And then that's it.
They
And you
kiss.
tricked me.
And
You
the film-
gaslit me very well. Love it. Cheers, man.
And that's it.
Yeah, the film ends with them locking like a lock onto this bridge and throwing away the key and kissing. And I went to Swanny, what was the point of this film meant to be? Like, is it a romance of them getting together?
No.
Because we don't spend any time doing that. Is it about the four magicians that we just left on the carousel to
No.
just be on a carousel? Is it about the Robin Hood nature of things?
No.
No, because the money was fake at the end. And like, it's not even really about getting revenge for the wrongful death of the magician, who definitely was responsible for his own
Because he
stupidity.
committed suicide, basically.
Yeah.
Like-
It was just death by misadventure.
Oh, well, yeah, fair. That's,
So
yeah.
like,
That is just total Darwinism, isn't it?
what is the film about?
Yeah, what is it trying to say? Magicians are. Magicians are.
Is that your review? Magicians are.
Magicians are.
What is this? What is this film?
Sorry, I don't.
Sorry, I fucking.
Now I don't see the point.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I don't see the point. That's the name of this episode.
So-
no, it's not, but it could be.
Yeah, that's the end
So
of
that's
the
how the film
film.
ends with
That's
them.
the end of the film.
Yeah, end of the film. Right.
Curious ratings.
Well, this what we do. Do you want to hear some critic stuff first and then do our reviews?
Okay.
Cool. Just tell me if you agree with these critics. Mixed reviews. Yes. The most common criticism is that various plot points were insufficiently resolved at the film's conclusion, leaving some questions unanswered or answered unclearly, although some suggested that this was intentional, leaving room for a sequel. Don't care, didn't make sense. General consensus on Rotten Tomatoes has got 50%, which is generous. The site's critical consensus reads, Now You See Me's thinly sketched characters and scattered plot rely on sleight of hand from the director to distract audiences. Do we agree with that?
I guess maybe if you weren't like watching this film in a critical mode, which we all were because we know we were going to be talking about it, maybe you would just be like, oh yeah, fair enough,
Yeah.
I guess. But because we were all like gunning to be like, right, we're going to talk about this in a podcast, we're going to obviously pick it apart a wee bit. We're like, what the fuck is going on? But I don't know because I've never seen it in an environment where I wasn't there to
Fair.
pick it
Look,
apart. You
I'm
know?
all for suspension of disbelief. I'm a big believer in like if things make emotional sense, it doesn't matter if it doesn't make full logical sense. I think that's that
But the whole film's about logic and working things out.
Let me finish. Like, yeah, it's the whole cinema sins sort of thing of, you know, that famous YouTube channel that overanalyzes things, and it's kind of ruined a lot of people's way of understanding how films actually work.
Yeah.
I'm all on board with that argument until you come to a film like this, which then very much is like, look closer, work us out, see what's going on. It'll all tie it. And it doesn't.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
it
It relies
just
on them
doesn't do
being
that.
mages. Abby, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the point of magic tricks is either like to experience it in person and be like, wow, that's amazing. How's that possible? Or to be explained the ingenuity behind it, and this
Yeah.
film does neither.
Yeah.
And like suspension of disbelief, but it rips the piss from the get-go. From
Yeah.
the first second, it just takes the absolute mick, and it's so lazy, and
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
rude and horrible, and it's
It's like
kind of mean-spirited and pointless.
It's like, you know, Knives Out. I know it's not about magicians, but it's like, look at all these like intricate things. We've like woven this tale together, and then you get the reveal at the end. Even though you
great.
weren't there, you were experiencing it. You're like, oh, that was so clever, and they don't hit that in this film because I feel like in order to do that, like you say, you kind of have to experience magic in person for it to be impressive. But when it's been done through CGI, then you're just like,
Yeah.
okay, this isn't magic. It's a film. Like what?
Yeah.
And you just get like, we always emphasize on this podcast that we are not, you know, lovers of logic. We will totally look past logic in order to enjoy a film, but not if the whole film is like logic. This is how it works. We're really clever and we can do stuff like really easily.
Totally.
Like, no.
Bullshit. So this the last quote. This was a criticism of the twist ending and whatnot. This was a critic Lee Casanel claimed the creators ran out of top hats and rabbits and decided to saw their audience's brains in half.
Yeah.
Fucking, I've never heard a more accurate criticism of a film. Yeah, one of the worst, if not the worst, twists in cinema history, and literally erases everything that it builds up to.
Yep.
Agreed. Again, I actually felt insane doing what I was doing with these fucking notes because I knew the twist ended. I was like, why am I bothering? Why am I bothering? Like,
You're going to go home and be like Dave Franco putting them in a fire.
I'm going to. Oh man, I'll film myself doing that.
so sorry. I just discovered my last note. Which goes to show you how terrible this film was, that I genuinely thought this is how it was going to end.
Right.
When she locks the lock on the bridge and throws away the key into the river and
Keeping
be like,
his
we're going to
secret.
lock away the last secret. Because the key, you follow the key floating down to the water.
I thought it was going to land on his dad.
I thought it was going to land on his dad.
I know what's meant to be like, surely fucking not. Surely not. Because it wasn't even in Paris.
Because they do emphasise loads of times that they never found his body.
Never found his
and
body.
for what?
Can you imagine he was,
And
in the
for
sea-
what?
he was in the river saying this whole fucking
It
time?
was all a magic trick. It was waiting for that key to be thrown down. He'd been in there for 40
right in
years.
there.
It would
He catches
unlock.
it. He catches it and unlocks himself out somehow. No. That'd
And
be
that's
too
how the
good.
sequel begins.
Oh, shocking. Right. Okay. Let's go around the room and give some critic. Let's give our reviews. Abby, you go first.
What did I give 17 again? A 2.
Yeah. No, you give it a 3. I think you give something a 3 or 2.
I don't think you gave it loads
You
of
gave
two.
it 2 more points than me. Right. I gave 17 again a 2.
I think you give it a 3. Anyway.
You gave it a 3, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't think you gave us loads too.
Because I gave it a 4 and brought it down to a 3 because you convinced me so heartily.
Either way, this is a 1.
I thought I was going to get back to that too. I love this. You told me it was a 2 last night and now it's a 1 because we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Fair enough, man.
I'm not going to lie, I thought it was a 2 for being crap, and then I remembered also how like
Sexist
horrible
it
and
was.
sexist and like homophobic it was, and I thought, yeah, that takes it down a notch.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you give it?
Oh, can you go first?
No, you go first.
No, please.
No, please.
No, please. I can't do this. I'm scared of her.
No, go for it. Go for
No.
it because I have a twist
Okay.
and I need you to do this.
Right, okay.
I have a twist ending like this film does.
Okay. I don't know. I enjoyed it. And I think I enjoyed it because I found it mind-numbing and it wasn't too complicated because it was just bullshit and it was hokey and it was like, I didn't like any of the characters in it and I enjoyed it for the fact that it was so shit. You know, I didn't actually enjoy it as a film. I was just kind of like, this is so ridiculous that I'm enjoying it a lot. In the same way that I would enjoy The Room, you know.
Yeah.
But it's obviously nowhere near as appreciative as The Room. So for that, but I really fucking hate every character in it. So probably like a 3. I'd give it a 3. I'll go a 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's fair. So, right. So there's a reason I kept suggesting this film over and over. There's a reason I kept going, oh, we should maybe do Now You See Me. But then I'd be like, oh, no. There's a reason we're friends as well.
What the fuck is going on?
There's a reason I picked you to be my pals. There's a reason I orchestrated this podcast to come about. You thought it was all your ideas? It was actually me and Cammy as well is big in on this. Yep, confirmed. I'm the fifth horseman. I would give this film an 11 out of 10. It's one of my Stone Cold classics. And it's the reason I breathe. So with that, Abracadabra. No, real twist. 3 out of 10. Real twist. It's bad. It's mean-spirited. It's illogical. It insists on itself, and it's no very funny. That's the real twist. It's no an 11 out of 10.
Yeah, it's a 3, innit?
It's a fucking stinking 3.
Yeah.
I think that's generous.
That's generous.
So
And Dave Franco was the rogue.
Oh yeah, fine. Yeah.
Dave Franco,
Dave Franco's the
100%
rogue.
our rogue, our fire mage.
Our fucking warlock of the 7th realm.
Yay! There he is on the screen.
You little shit.
Everything he does is so shocking. innit?
I'd like to. Yeah,
So,
that's it.
that's it.
That's it.
Like, this is another one of those films that's actually mentally worn me down to nothing.
Would you say this has worn you out more than 17 again?
Yes.
Yes.
See, I think 17 again wore me out more.
I just...
I still give them both a 3.
Both of them have in common that I was kind of like, oh, this film wasn't that bad. And then I started talking to you about it. And then I was like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on in this film, man?
I know.
I was just allowed to make it to screen.
But aye, so
But before we finish, let's not forget that Isla Fisher almost died making this fucking film.
yeah, I read that as well.
So she at the beginning of the film does this water tank scene where she's like chained in a water tank. They drop a bunch of piranhas on her head if she doesn't get out of the water tank and unchain herself in time. And in this scene, they stage that she's getting eaten, right? By these piranhas, and that she dies, and then she like obviously steps out and she's fine. But in this scene, obviously, because as the magician, as the character, she's pretending that she can't get out. She's like banging on the glass and freaking out and stuff like that. This happened in real life. Her actual chain got snagged, and then she started doing that. And everyone was like, oh wow, she's a great actress, and she almost fucking drowned in the tank. And afterwards she was like, yeah, we probably should have sorted out a safe word, you know, like a signal if I was actually if I was actually in distress, so that somebody could come and get me out. And no, we didn't do that. So Isla Fisher almost died for a 3 and a 1 for you.
Honestly, it might be a 2. I'm think it might be an 11 though. Woo, crazy. No, it's pish. Aye, that's shocking. How much was the budget?
Oh man, I don't know. Fucking 500 million pounds.
Okay. Right.
50
right
quid.
Now, you know what, fuck it.
Straight out of Jesse Agnes's pocket.
Let's just end it. I can't be fucked. I started asking, I was like, I don't care.
Thank you for watching the Sorry I Don't podcast.
Okay, it was 50 million. No, 75 million. 75 million that all went into the CGI and Jesse Eisenberg's bank of 50s. How much do you think it made? Because it made a sequel.
What, including the sequel?
No, just this. How much? So it's going to be way less than like some of the biggest numbers of the films I've ever made because it's not franchised. Whatever.
125 million.
What do you think?
145
Oh,
million.
you suck. Both of you suck. Why would you do that? It was like 350 million. So because it's like double the budget, like so I mean it cost about 150 million to make, including marketing. So you got to kind of be like at least 100 million more generally to be considered a sequel worthy, and it was. And the sequel made about the same.
Aye, right out of Michael Caine's bank account.
Right out of fucking Michael Caine's bank account.
So,
right, yeah. Thank you for Sorry I Don't. Thank you. Oh my god. Right,
Abby, do you want to close us off?
Thank you for watching the Sorry I Don't podcast. This was an attempt at reviewing Now You See Me. Next week, I know we said this last week, but next week we will actually be reviewing The Lost Boys. So please join us if you still have any of your wits about you after listening to this.
Yeah.
And thanks so much for listening again.
because now you saw us.
And now you don't.
Abracadabra.
Get me home.
We fucking suck. I love it.
Oh man, I'm